My fellow Americans, a man walks into a bar. He's got a dog with him. He says to the bartender, "I'd like a bottle of your favorite scotch." Bartender says, "Okay. Not used to serving up an entire bottle. I'm going to need some sort of credit card." Gentleman says, "Sir, I brought a dog with me today." I continue. I brought a dog with me today, sir. And this dog can perform fellatio, unlike anyone you've ever been with. And the bartender says, "Please leave." He said, No, I'm serious. In fact, we will go in the back room, the dog will perform said act, and you will gladly give me a bottle of the finest scotch you have. The bartender says, "I've seen everything in my lifetime, but I've never seen that. Let's go." So they go in the back room there. The bartender says, "How's this work?" Fella says, "Quite simply. You drop your pants, the dog here on my cue will perform the act, and you will hand over the finest scotch you have." The bartender drops his pants. The gentleman looks down at that canine. He says, "Buddy, do it." And the dog looks up at the bartender. Fella says, "Buddy, seriously, don't make an ass out of me. Do it." And the dog sits there. Fella looks at the bartender and says, "I'm sorry, sir, this is embarrassing. It's never happened before. Let me have just a quick word with the dog. We'll be done with this." Fella turns to his dog and he says, "Buddy, I swear to God, this is the last time I'm going to show you." Oh, so much better when you go right to the credits and you don't see me laughing at my own joke. There you have this week's cold openings inserted by our credits. I want to thank Jeremy Shelton for those fantastic opening credits and Brian the Fabulous Tyler for our opening theme song.
That was Jimmy Stewart doing the joke, right?
Yes, it was indeed Jimmy Stewart addressing his fellow Americans. "Why would you say such a thing, Sam, you fucker? What's the matter with you?"
Merry Christmas, movie.
Yeah. Very exciting show 56. Welcome, ladies and Jews. This is Kevin Pollak's Chat Show, and as always, I'm the Chat Show. We had a little situation prior to the show that I will alert you to, because there's a little something in the air. Our makeup artist was called about 10 minutes before she was supposed to arrive, saying that she was in a car accident. And you could hear it in her voice, I was told. And so we're waiting on an update. We were told she's fine, everything's fine, but she was unable to make it. So within minutes, our stand-in director, otherwise known as JMac, was able to find another one. God bless him on that, and kudos all around. Consequently, all four of us who desperately, well, I speak for myself, I desperately need makeup, and the other three had a little powder. But four people threw the makeup chair in 9 minutes. So there's a little bit of urgency in the air. Also, I should probably mention that I, once again, cut coffee. I think I spoke a little bit, just a tiny bit, about this annoying frickin' diet I went on.
No one cares about your diet.
Prior to last week's show. I think I might not have mentioned it because now that I remember, I was fearing hearing that from Jamie. No one cares about your diet. Oh, you can't mute yourself still? No.
That's why I shouted.
Okay. Are you not mic'd? You're mic'd. So anyways, I cut out caffeine. Big coffee lover, big fan, have been a long time. Cut out the caffeine for 12 straight days. This morning, 2 pounds shy of my goal in the course of this annoying diet. I said, you know what? I'm going to work coffee back into the program, see how that works out. Well, let me tell you something. If you've cut out coffee after enjoying it for 25 years for a couple of weeks and you have yourself a cup, this is what you get. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. What's going on? Are those new? Those new? What's that? Is that a shirt? You turn into a dog, basically. What? What is that? Frisbee? Ball?
Squirrel.
Squirrel. Yeah. Yes.
Well, it's also you had just regular like drip Starbucks, which is equivalent to rocket fuel.
Yeah.
So
How is it more
pretty
potent? I've heard this. How is it more potent than a double espresso?
It's the actual amount of caffeine per
portion.
bean, per portion.
It's portion. It's mathematics.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Because, espresso, they take a little espresso and then they put it in this giant cup full of all water and other stuff and milk, whereas if you do a cup of coffee, it's just all
What I was going to do a
Because
little...
what does Starbucks sell the most of, Kevin?
Milk.
Milk.
Anybody else know that? Starbucks sells more milk than any other store or institution on the planet. Starbucks moves more milk than any grocery store, anyone, restaurant, anywhere, chain, forget it. Starbucks moves more milk. Thank you, useless information. Who told us that? Malik? Why is the camera not on these people when I need it? I just got the international sign for Malik. See, let's see it one more time.
Does he watch this program?
Hey, can you see it?
What do you think?
You can't really see the weight loss. Damn it, my face still blows up like a pumpkin. So glad I went on the diet.
The camera
all right, so
adds 30, 40 pounds. You know that.
So yes, last night, Jamie and I went to the Hollywood Bowl to see the premiere of Bugs Bunny at the Symphony, L.A. Philharmonic, with giant Warner Brothers cartoon on a giant. Well, the cartoons were normal size; they were on a giant screen. And boy, was that amazing! Absolutely incredible. Jamie, thoughts?
It was amazing. I love that because you got live, musical accompaniment with all the shorts.
Yeah, how many times you've heard bam, 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 that was performed live by the Philharmonic. It was insane. Yeah. Oh God, it was so amazing. Earlier in the day, however, yesterday, Saturday morning, Jamie,
I
learned a hard lesson.
Yeah, I did learn a hard lesson.
Lifelong fan of Disney. The land.
Yes, I, for the first time in my life, decided that I am going to wait in line for limited edition merchandise at Disneyland. And because it was actually limited, it was 1,955 pieces only made of the stuff I was waiting in line for. And I decided I will never do it again because I don't want to turn into one of these people.
The other people in line?
Yes.
Scared you?
I could not become their peer. They were... It was quite bizarre. The guy in front of me, mid-40s to early 50s, he yelled at me at one point because I tried to make light of the situation and say like, oh wow, we're idiots waiting in a 3-hour line to just spend money. And he's like, well, I don't consider myself an idiot at all. This stuff is very personal to me. And I'm like, whoa, buddy, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
A woman behind me was, she was knitting, which I thought was a good idea because I'm like, well, you're in line for a while, bring something to do.
Right.
She's knitting a little sweater.
Sure.
And I'm like, oh, is this for your dog or your pet? And she said, no, this is for my bear. And she pulled out a stuffed animal bear that she carries around with her.
A Disney bear?
No.
Wasn't Pooh?
No. Actually, it was the Bear in the Big Blue House Bear, which I think is a Disney cartoon.
Aha!
On the Disney
I
Channel
want to
for
give
kids.
this lunatic credit for something.
Yeah, it was bizarre. So, but I got my merchandise. And I think we have a slideshow of it. I don't know if it was showing.
Oh, look!
So I'm very excited.
Look, it's signed. There's something signed.
Yes, those
Is that
are
a
my
plaque of some
plates
kind?
that I had signed. Oh, and the artists were there too. That was another reason to wait in line because the artists of the merchandise were actually there to sign it. But I'm glad I got my stuff, and I will never do it again. I will.
Congratulations, you reached
Yes.
the Disneyland threshold.
I did.
And very important.
I'm just gonna
Here's
go
a
to the
couple more
park and
plaques
enjoy
are
it.
now showing. Those will hang on the walls.
Yeah, those
of
are
the,
tin. Those are nice. I mean, all the stuff's good quality. It's nice
Oh,
stuff.
it's another angle, just in case you weren't clear. Ah, well,
Oh,
there
those
they
are my
are.
teacups. That's what I really wanted, because those are teacups that are supposed to look like the attraction.
They look like the teacups that you spin around in.
Yes.
Yeah,
Remember
yeah.
that one time with Tweedledee and Tweedledum
Easy. When you got drunk and had the three-way?
in the teacup?
Yeah.
Why don't we have that photo?
People are laughing, but it's a screensaver on my computer. This particular three-way. Doesn't haunt me at all. Sammy,
Hey.
how was your weekend?
Oh, it was fantastic.
On your
I was-
week?
I was at the bowl myself, actually, last Friday, the Beatles celebration.
I did not realize that half the Beatles were still alive.
Half of them are. Not a single Beatle was at this celebration.
Ah,
It was
a musical
It was a
celebration.
musical celebration. Todd Rundgren,
I love him.
Brian Stokes Mitchell. They sang.
Rundgren can recreate the sound of any music. He
Yes.
once put out a couple of his own versions of Beach Boys songs, literally on one of his albums, and it was freakish. So did he do Beatles songs?
Oh, they all did Beatles songs.
Was it in
great.
fact freakish?
It was a little freakish. Oh,
You're just going to go with Little Freakish?
just a little.
Can't back my play?
It was all right. It was scary freakish.
Son of a bitch.
You know what it is? A lot of the artists, they change the melodies, which some people were all right with. Me,
Let's see, I'm going to pay homage to arguably the greatest band that ever lived. I know what I'll do. I'll change their shit.
change the melodies.
Because I'm a genius too.
Yes.
No. So, but you enjoyed the show.
It was a great show. Great show.
Did you have a meal that you packed?
Well, I was there with some people, and they brought cheese and wine and crackers and, bowl stuff.
And you suffered through that, did you?
I love cheese and wine and crackers.
Do you?
You've had me over to your house for cheese and wine and crackers. Do
Yeah.
I not appear to enjoy myself?
Well, you were outside because of the cat. All right, Sammy.
I'm actually not allergic to cats at all. It's just an excuse to get out of your fucking house as fast as I can.
Like it. Now you're rehired.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that, ladies and Jew. Now we bring ourselves to the Ask Kevin portion of the proceedings. Ask Kevin brought to you by that graphic. These are questions live from you. This one comes from John Lichenwalner, because that's a name. Hi, Mr. Pollack. I enjoyed your podcast, and I have one question. In Usual Suspects and Indian Summer, you clearly have chest hair. I'm reading off a teleprompter for those of you who think I might have memorized this. In the podcast, it seems to have disappeared. Where is it? Thanks, John, Line Station, PA. Line Station. Where's my chest hair? That you noticed in two of my films? Because it doesn't appear on the show. I'm confused.
It moved to your ass?
Am I not wearing the right shirts? Are they all? Are you crazy? What's happening? I mean, there's not a lot there, but all right. There's your answer to what happened to it. Thanks for writing. This one from Rock Prod from Twitter, maybe at Rock Prod. Hey, at that Kevin Smith via at Agent 520. Kevin Pollack, do your show from Smod at Smod Castle. And then this from Kevin Smith himself, who added, it's a good idea, Kev. Then again, told you that about Cop Out. And then in parentheses, it was. And then thoughts? All right, so some of that from the guy. I don't know what Smod Castle is. I'm going to assume it's a studio that Kevin Smith is now doing his Smodcast from. So if I'm being invited to do this show from Smod Castle, fuck yeah. When? Fucker. All right. And this next one from Rollback. Do we know who this one's from, or do we not know who this one's from? We don't know. J-Mac, let me know who this last one's from when you get a sec. And anyways, it is.
Cop.
Sorry?
Desk Cop.
From Desk Cop. Maybe at Desk Cop. Maybe just Desk Cop. Maybe I'm about to be arrested. He asks, since Jamie shamed you into silence during the excellent J.K. Simmons interview, I figured the Ask Kevin segment is the perfect place for you to tell us your two personal favorite performances. Oh, of my own. I think you yelled at nobody cares. Is that your favorite sentence in life when dealing with me? Was one of them your role as the president in Deterrence? Because you're fucking awesome in that movie. Why am I, this is crazy. Do you have any more self-satisfied? We appear to have 4 Ask Kevins. Okay, so yes, Deterrence. 19 people saw it, but I'd say, actually my 2 favorites are films that no one saw. Deterrence, my best dramatic work, arguably, in my opinion, and the whole 9 yards. The what?
The whole 10 yards?
The whole 10 yards. Thank you. Everybody knows my best, but me. I'm actually going to say the whole 9 yards too.
It's weird. Usually, most other people have forgotten about the whole 10 yards.
Brilliant.
Not you.
Yeah. No, that's my point.
tried.
Thank you for supporting my point. Finally. The film stinks, but for some reason, because I played this 80-year-old Hungarian hitman and had to go through 3.5 hours of prosthetic makeup every morning, it is my favorite comedy thing I've ever done in terms of my performance only, and now no one cares. This last question, I promise you, I've asked Kevin, because there is a guest here, by Bruno Santos. So to be direct, nice to see you interviewing the co-author of Maravich, which got me wondering if you're a real baseball fan.
Basketball? Sure, it's basketball.
Yes.
Yeah, basketball. I was already looking at the word fam instead of fan. Also, on a related topic, got anything to share on the whole LeBron James free agency situation? Clearly an older Ask Kevin. I think you should go with the Heat, and I'll tell you why. Anyways, let's close up Ask Kevin because no one really cares. My guest should be warned. We play a lovely game here on the show called the Larry King game, and many people have wondered. Now that he's announced his retirement, we've had 76 interviews prior to this, almost all of which did the Larry King game, as all the guests must do at the end of the show. There are 3 simple rules when doing the Larry King game, and I point this out to any potential new viewers of the show. If you go to our website, you can load up your own by just going to Larry King game and then clicking on play, and then that'll show you how to load your own video of your version, or you can write one in, as people often do, and win a t-shirt, because that's what's happening today. 3 rules. Bad Larry King impression takes all the pressure off of having to do a good one. Bad Larry King impression, because that's all I can do. And then we want you to act out that moment where Larry accidentally shares something about himself on the air that none of us ever need to know, because it's coming. It's coming before that son of a bitch turns to dust when he walks out the door from the studio after doing the last show. Beelzebub is just going to reach down and grab his head. No! And then go to the phones. That's the 3rd rule. And when you go to the phone, the name of the city should be funny sounding. Those 3 rules brought us to this offering from Kevin Filowich, Windsor, Ontario, Canada. That's right. We're international, fuckers. World Wide Web? Hello. When I'm running in the morning, my balls slap my face like I'm Raquel Welch on a pogo stick. Beaver Bank, Nova Scotia. Hello. Thank you, Kev. T-shirt coming your way, you son of a bitch. We just need to know what size you are. You were so wise to include your address, but forgot the size. We're going to need that information, please. Well, thank you for all your participations. And now a little piece of business. We have a couple of sponsors on the show, fine folks who decided to pitch in and help out, lend a hand, show their support of what the hell we're trying to do. First one is PickClick. And let me explain how this works, if I might. I don't mean to be a pest, I swear to Christ. PickClick.com. By the way, I'm reading a teleprompter, so very difficult to do while crossing eyes. Let me see. You better go to the visual aid. PickClick is your visual search engine that helps you shop more effectively. You think I'm bullshitting you? Let me show how. You can browse through your photos from your favorite sites to find exactly what you want. And I'm talking fast, you son of a bitch. Up to 12 times faster, as a matter of fact. For browsing than just using the actual site themselves. Let me repeat. 12 times faster than the actual site. You son of a bitch. Featured sites, of course, eBay, Amazon, Etsy, Plenty of Fish, Yelp, allrecipes.com, and of course, Google. Categories make it easy to zero in on just the content you want. Scroll bars allow you to make the images as big or as small as you'd like. How about that, folks? PickClick.com. Use it, or I'll find you and kill you. Hey, new sponsor. Maiden voyage last week, the Mosey.com people. Hey, Mosey, how about the .com? Well, with now I'm going to take myself to the 40s and do Bing Crosby. Why? With Mosey, you can be sure your digital life will always be there when you need it. That's right, your digital fucking life. It'll be there when you need it with Mosey.com. Online backup service with more than 1 million customers backing up more than 25 petabytes, you heard me, not what you're thinking now, of information. Back up your critical data, protect your personal files, everybody. 2 offerings. Go 6 different places. 2 offerings available for you. 1 for your home use, when you're home, sitting on your ass at your computer screen. Stuff like photos, videos, musics, you heard me, and other businesses, which include administrative features, 24-hour customer support. Some sites don't offer the 24 hours, maybe 17 and a half. Fuck them. Losers. I got you 24 with your Mosey.com. Unlimited online backup plans start at only $4.95 a month. Wow. Mosey.com, thanks for joining along, everybody. The fine new mugs for the guests. We got a little photo insert I think we can offer up to you. What does that look like, Lee? Look at that. We took 17 photos to get the steam to come out on top. That took 17 tries. So thank you, ePromos, for the great mugs that you offered us up. And lastly, and then only 14 minutes and I'll introduce my guest. We have a new sponsor I'm excited to tell you about. I'm going to talk about him much more next week when he comes in and stops by. He's from Sicily, and he has the best pizza, in my opinion, in Los Angeles. Joe of Bleecker Street in New York moved to Santa Monica a few years back and then opened in the Midtown area on Sunset Boulevard. Joe's of Bleecker Street, the best pie. Love them dearly. All right. As a proud United States Marine, he has served 19 years in the Corps, maybe 20. We're going to find out for certain. 9 in active duty, 10 in the reserves. June 1st of last year, he officially was pinned the rank of Lieutenant Colonel. We'll talk more about that. His awards include, sorry to him, I am about to embarrass him, but for comedic purposes. Combat Action Ribbon, Joint Service Commendation Medal, Joint Service Achievement Medal, Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal twice, Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, Afghanistan Campaign Medal, Kosovo Campaign Medal, Humanitarian Service Medal twice, National Defense Service Medal twice, Sea Service Deployment Ribbon, Navy Unit Commendation twice, Navy Meritorious, close enough. Unit Commendation, Joint Meritorious Unit Award, Armed Forces Reserve Medal twice, and the NATO Medal. And he's one of the funniest fuckers to ever sit at this table. Please welcome Rob Riggle.
Oh, thank you.
I thought it was a funny juxtapose. You got all that astonishing...
Yeah, you think you're going down this way, and then ba-boom.
Yeah, I did. I made a left on ba-boom. Yeah. Now, Rob, when preparing your dossier for today's chat, by the way, thanks for breaking a nail to come out here from Malibu today. We appreciate that. You were at a previous guest, Nia Vardalos' fine home, her and the Dan?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Yeah, lovely people, aren't they?
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Such good people.
You probably told them you were on their way here, and then they bored you with how much fun they had.
Actually, she said she had a blast.
Oh,
absolute blast.
And then he ignored the topic
altogether.
altogether.
You were a wonderful, wonderful person.
Aw.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's such a sweet person.
Yeah.
She's one of those annoyingly nice people.
Yeah, well, Canadians.
Yeah,
it kind of runs in their blood.
Enough said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice to a fault.
How you get 1,500 Canadians out of the swimming pool? You say, please get out of the swimming pool.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, when preparing your dossier, we have an amazing research team.
I saw.
Yeah. And then I peruse and then put together the dossier from the information. Nice. You've been forced to talk about your military involvement ad nauseum.
But it's got to be such a point of pride that it's easy for you to talk about.
Well, yeah. It's never a problem, and when people are curious, I don't mind telling them about it. It's it's unusual, so I understand why people want to talk about it.
Yeah, well, I wanted to talk about the unusual aspect of it.
Sure.
As a potential fresh take.
Okay.
First of all, I can't thank you enough, because I say that to every soldier that I ever meet.
Oh, well, thank you.
Because I myself, if there were a draft, would have been in Canada so fast. It would have been the cartoon spin and
actually
then
the wheels,
Yep.
yes, legs turning to wheels.
Let me just check. No, there's no spine there. There's nothing. There's nothing there at all. You, however, at 19, still in college.
Still in college.
At the KU.
Yes.
Having achieved your pilot's license at a very young age.
Yeah.
Decide to join the Marines.
You do have a crack research team.
Buddy, I'm not fucking around.
No.
No. Yeah. Which...
Yeah, so when I was an undergrad at the University of Kansas, I was a theater and film major, and I got my pilot's license while I was an undergrad, mainly because my grandfather was like, "Do you want? I'll pay for your pilot's license if you want it." And
was he a flyer?
No, he always wanted to be. I think it was a little projection.
Yeah.
A little projection on me. But I was 18, 19. I was like, sure. Yeah, that sounds fun.
Pay it up.
Not to mention, it's a great date package when you're an undergrad at college and you say, would you like to go for a flight around campus?
I'm sorry, you did not pull that. How many times?
All the time.
Hundreds?
I mean, it was sick.
Every opportunity.
I have no shame about this. I should, but
you're in college. Who doesn't?
I didn't have the tools to get laid.
I see what you're saying.
And I had to go get a pilot's license to just give me a little bit of edge. And still, not much. Not much came from it.
Really?
Yeah. I had no game. Still don't, but I didn't have any game then. But it did seem to break the ice a little bit. It was a good, unique approach.
I'm sure you were the only one on campus pulling that.
Pretty much. Right. Yeah, there weren't a whole lot.
I mean, how many guys say, "What, you want to go for a flight?" Yeah. Hey, listen, do you want to get out of this party? Right? Let's.
It might be fun. Maybe we go down and get a malt, and then, hey, you know what? We can fly over campus if you want.
Fly over campus.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in the malt.
Yeah, and then if you want, we could maybe fly over to Kansas City. It's only about 30 minutes away, and then we'll pop back. I'll have you back before midnight. Wah, 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 wah. Yes.
Was there autopilot on this little plane in case something needed to happen?
There was, but it was, no, I didn't trust it. I didn't trust myself barely. Every time I got in the plane, I was like, shut up, don't talk.
Maybe that's why it didn't work so much.
Not quite the experience
Because
they probably were hoping for.
You got the gal on board.
Yes.
Forgive me for assuming it was a woman.
Of course.
And then you went right to shut the hell up.
Yeah.
I need to
I
concentrate.
go, don't talk. Would you shut your goddamn mouth? What did he say? What did he say? Yeah, a lot of that. And then I go, oh fuck. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? Look at it. What does it say? Tell me what he said. The tower, talking to the tower.
And then you were just known as the psycho on campus.
Girl, the word got around fast. What a psycho. He's probably gonna ask you to go flying. Don't do it. It's awful. Susie almost died.
Almost died. Wow.
Yeah. No, it was good. It was a good experience though. So I was a theater and film major, and when you graduate as a theater and film major from anywhere, you're going to be a waiter or a bartender, if you're lucky.
Yes, you are. Turns out you don't walk right across the street to show business.
It doesn't work like that.
No.
Which is fine. I waited tables all through college. It was fine. I was anticipating that. But a guy that I went to college with, and I looked up to him a lot, and I thought highly of him, and he went through this Marine officer program where he got a guaranteed flight contract.
What does that mean exactly?
It means when you graduate, first you have to go take this test. It's called the AQTFAR, some kind of test to see if you have the aptitude to fly. And if you score high enough on it, they'll give you a guaranteed flight contract, meaning when you graduate from college, if you complete officer candidate school and you go through the basic school, they'll send you to flight school. You don't have to worry about getting stuck in the infantry or getting stuck in supply, or you're going to be a pilot, and they're going to send you to flight school and all that. So you're guaranteed that flight contract. And he started talking to me about it, and I thought it sounded pretty good.
But it's a career choice.
Well,
at the time.
This is the thing. Yeah, you know, I don't know. It's one of those things. You listen to your folks, you know, and you know, I don't know. I probably caved in a little bit to their anxiety about me graduating college and being a bartender.
By the way, don't misunderstand the question as you need to justify this choice of yours to me or anyone. I admire it so much that I'm not looking for an explanation on the thought process as much as I am just the question of, had you decided when caving, in your words, that this I'm making a commitment to a career, because flight contract equals pilot professionally.
Right.
And yeah, I've got this TV and film thing that my heart is involved in, but I also love flying. So that's why I'm wondering.
Well, that's the thing. That's why when I go back and look at it, because it's always a tricky thing. You know, people say, "Would you do it again if you could?" And it's that weird thing of, because I spent my whole 20s in the Marines. You know, I didn't even get to start really diving into comedy and diving into acting and stuff till probably my late 20s. You know, and I was still on active duty, but at least I was doing it at night. So when I analyze it, I go back and I think about it. I was like, well, you know, what was I thinking? What was I doing? And I do think it was some sort of, you know, make sure you have a fallback plan. Make sure you have a safe job or some foundation you could fall back on. And I think that's what it was. I think that's where it stemmed from originally, because
everyone goes through that.
Yeah, and I went through officer candidate school, and I graduated from KU, and I went through the basic school, and I went down to flight school, and went to Pensacola, went through AI, went through beginning, and then went to Corpus Christi, went through intermediates, and got helicopters. So I was headed back to Pensacola, and that's when I had that moment, and I was talking with a friend of mine in Chicago who was doing Second City at the time. And he was like, Riggle, you got to get up here, man. You've got to get up here. All we're doing up here is what we did in college, and you do it better than these guys are doing it. You got to get up here. So that was the seed. And I was getting to that point where once I pinned those wings on, because I was still in flight school, they got me. They got me for 8 years once I pinned them on. So it was that quarter life crisis. I was 24 at the time, and I was like, God dang it, if I finish flight school and pin these on, that's going to be my life. I'm going to be a pilot, which is fine. It's a great life.
But that's a life you need to decide.
But exactly.
And at 24, you're faced with easily the most important decision you will ever make.
Yes. And for whatever reason, it was very clear to me. And nothing's ever that clear to me. I can analyze anything to death. And it just leapt out at me and said, if you don't try this, you'll always regret it.
Right.
And I can live with failure. I mean, I don't like it.
You do every day.
Every day I get up and
one of the things your dossier showed is that you actually do live with failure.
Yeah. I just look in the mirror sometimes and go, yeah. And then I head out the door.
Wow, you're unlike everyone else.
But yeah, I can live with it.
Weeks, 2 weeks away, technically. So one of the things said, but weeks away from
getting my wings. And then I just said, if I don't try it, I'll regret it. And if I try it and fail, at least I will have tried. It's all very cliche, but it's all very true. And so I went to my commanding officer and I said, I don't want to fly anymore. And that didn't go over very well.
Weeks away. You're a quitter, Riggle!
Oh, man. I was locked up, 6 and centered, 6 feet away,
I don't know.
Oh, well.
Tell me.
When you're called into the office, you got to stand tall before the man. You literally have to stand tall before the man. 6 and centered means 6 feet from the desk, centered up on the boss, locked at the position of attention, eyes straight ahead. Lieutenant Riggle reporting as ordered, sir. And then usually they say, at ease. What the hell's going on, Riggle? No.
No.
Stand at attention. You are the biggest pussy I've ever met in my entire life. You are a quitter and a coward. You are a disgrace to the United States of America. I mean, up and down,
That was his job.
Yeah,
were you able to appreciate that was his job?
I was taking it in. I was just like, this is all going in the bank. Don't forget a single word. And
this is a character that I will look forward to playing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I took it, and I didn't agree with everything he said. Some of the stuff, sure, I get it. But I didn't agree with a lot of it, obviously. If I saw him today, I'd beat his fucking head in, I swear to God.
That is the correct answer. Show him what he's won.
Yeah, so then you know, and he was some Navy commanding officer, so I won't get into that. But then I went and saw the Marine commanding officer, and he was much more reasonable, understanding man. He was like, well, you know, he was a smoker, and he's like, well, we're gonna miss you, but you got to do what you got to do.
By the way, if I may, I hate to do this,
Yeah.
but I see a rewrite potential. Just a quick little punch up
Please.
to an otherwise wonderful moment reenacted. When you do this, instead of saying he was a smoker, finish this move and say, by the way, he wasn't a smoker. Just a little punch up.
Oh, so good. So good.
See how we work together already?
Wasn't a smoker at all. Oh, I love it.
Come on.
That's the stuff.
All right.
That's the stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
So, how soon after that are you actually able to physically, then you have to maneuver into a new post.
Yeah. What happens is they said, well, if you're not going to fly, you're going to have to fulfill your ground contract.
Right.
And I said, what ground contract? And they
Because
said,
with the wings means you're guaranteed a contract, you don't have to be in the infantry.
right.
You said that earlier.
Yeah,
So I'm
so-
going to assume that means you're headed into a little bit of infantry.
Well, they're going to send me the ground side. It doesn't necessarily mean infantry, but it definitely
Could,
means...
though.
Could,
Yeah.
sure.
And you were in fact deployed several times.
Yes,
Right.
yes. But they said, all right, they looked at what I did in college, which was a lot of radio and television and you know, that
Triangulating
stuff.
on the air.
Thank you. And they said, all right, you're a public affairs officer. Go forth and do good things. So they sent me to Defense Information School for 3 months, which is basically journalism school.
Right.
And I went there and studied, and then they sent me out to the fleet from there to North Carolina, where I had to do 2.5 more years. And then my service to God and country was up, and I was like, that's fine. So I did those things. I went to North Carolina. While I was in North Carolina, I deployed to Liberia to help evacuate the embassy there.
What was that like for you? That was your first time?
Yeah, that was interesting. They formed a special Marine air-ground task force, and they put us on the USS Ponce de Leon, and they sent us across the Atlantic, 14 days to sail across to Liberia, and then we sat off the coast, and we flew helicopters into the embassy, took people off the embassy, back to the ship, and then flew them to Sierra Leone, and then they flew out commercially because Liberia was so torn up.
Right.
They didn't have any infrastructure, any airport, or nothing was working. The Civil War had spilled out of the hills into the city and was threatening the embassy. And a lot of our allies don't have Marines or Navy or anything like that, so we were evacuating them as well. So we were getting the Japanese out and the Belgians out and all these people that we have deals with.
What an amazing sense of purpose.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was good to secure the embassy and do what we could to help. There wasn't much we could do. Our only mission was to protect the embassy. We couldn't go out and try and restore order because it was a very chaotic place.
Any of those fly boys say, you know, Riggle, if you just hung in there 2 more weeks, you'd be helping us fly these people.
Exactly. Yeah, what are you going to do?
No. You had made your decision, so here you are,
Yeah.
still with an opportunity to serve. I can't imagine that sense of accomplishment because...
Well, and I was a first lieutenant. I'd been promoted to first lieutenant, and then while I was in Liberia, I think I was selected to be promoted to captain. So then when I got back from Liberia, I got promoted to captain, and it was right before I was getting out. And I'd already decided, I'm out, I've done my time, I'm moving to Chicago, I'm going to study at Second City, and I'm going to be a bartender, a waiter, whatever I got to do.
At this point, you're 27?
26,
Okay.
26, 27.
Okay.
And the Marines, my boss, said, what would it take for you to stay in the Marines? And I said, well, nothing, because you don't have a base in Chicago, and I want to go be a comedian. And he said, well, what if we can get you to New York City or Los Angeles? Because we have public affairs offices there, and we can put you in one of those offices. So I thought about it, and I said, well, if you can get me one of those, I would consider staying in. And he called my bluff. The next day, I had orders to New York City. So I was like, all right. And I figured I was either going to go to Chicago and be a bartender, and because you have to have a day job when you're starting out. So I was going to be a bartender, a waiter, and then do comedy at night. Well, I could be a captain in the Marines in New York City, and still do comedy at night. And so that's
without
what I
the
did.
bartender part.
Without the bartender part.
Yeah.
Which I actually ended up bartending on the weekends anyway, but whatever. So I said, all right, you got me. So I extended for 3 more years on active duty. And
that means you can be deployed again.
Sure, and I was.
And you were.
And I was. And I went to New York City, and I tried stand-up at first, and it was really nerve-wracking, and it was really awful. And I thought I made a huge mistake.
In choosing stand-up or comedy?
Just comedy in general.
Oh, no.
I thought I really had blundered. And then I went down, a friend of mine, Dave Keckner.
Sure.
Said,
been on this show.
Yeah, great guy. And he said, he goes, all right, calm down. Go down, there's a group that just moved to New York from Chicago called Upright Citizens Brigade. Go see them.
Holy shit.
So I was like, all right. So I went down, and it was this 5th floor of this nasty old building called Solo Arts, and the stairs were so rickety you thought you were going to die every time you went up them. And I went and I watched the show. They did their Ass Cat show, and it just
changed.
I mean, literally, just it was the clouds parted, the light hit me just like John Belushi, and do you see the light?
Yeah.
Yes, jab, and I said, Christ, I see the light. I almost did cartwheels the whole way down. I was like, this is it. This is what I got to do.
Right.
So that was it. I was hooked, and then I said, what does it take? I started taking classes. I started anything I could do. I hung around the theater. I would tech other people's shows, do the lights and sound for other people's shows, just so I could be around it.
Right.
And I took all the classes they offered twice. So I had Amy Poehler and Matt Walsh and Ian Roberts and Matt Besser. They were all my teachers.
The founders.
Yeah, the founders. Because it was so new, they didn't even have time to have a staff yet.
Right.
So I learned from those guys. I took all their classes twice. I got on house teams, and if I wasn't practicing or rehearsing or being coached, I was coaching or teaching. I just 7 days a week. I was at the theater 7 nights a week, just trying to do as much as I could. And then, of course, Albania and Kosovo happened, the refugee crisis in Kosovo with the Serbs and the Kosovo. And so I ended up going to Albania to help with the refugee crisis there. And they called and said, how do you feel about the phrase, leave it on a jet plane? Some smart ass in Washington. I was like, I don't know, sir, you tell me. I was so fucking pissed. Because, I was like, I know it's coming. So I was like, I don't know, sir, you tell me. Well, should sound pretty good, because you're headed out, my friend, back in 48 hours. We need you over in Germany, and then from Germany you'll get further. So I was like, great. So I had a wedding planned at the time, too, which I had to cancel.
Your own, I take it.
Yes, my own wedding. And that'd be great if it was somebody else's. Going to Kosovo, everything's just put on hold. So I went over to Albania, and I dealt with the refugee crisis over there because the Serbs had driven the ethnic Albanians out of Kosovo.
Right.
And so on the border of Albania and Macedonia, there was just a refugee crisis. I mean, it was it was awful.
Yeah.
So we went in and built all these refugee camps down in Albania, and they were like, okay, come on down. And the Albanians were like, no, we're not coming down. We're like, what? But we have
we built.
Yeah, we've done this so you can not have this nightmare that's going on up there. And they're like, well, when they drove us out of our homes, we took everything on our backs. And so I'm not leaving my tractor and everything I own on the border to come down to your thing.
So you had to go.
So we were like, well, what do we do now? I mean, everybody's just scratching their heads. So they sent all the women and children down to the camps, and the men kind of stayed up on the border with their
tractors,
everything they had, tractors and all the stuff they owned. And then we, did a number on them through the air. And then when the peace broke out,
the peace broke out,
we got back on our ships, sailed around, went up through Greece and Macedonia, and then moved into the U.S. sector of Kosovo and secured that just for I think we were 40 days. It wasn't very long because the Army's the Army comes in and they do the sustaining. They do the big, long haul, long occupation or long type stuff. Marines kind of just kick in the door and do their thing and then get back on their ships and go away.
Right.
So then I went into Kosovo and spent time there. What was it? 33 days without a shower, I think, is what it was.
Can we take you back there for just a moment? That means how many other fellas?
Yeah, everybody was in the same boat.
Had sustained that particular.
Yeah, everybody. From the time we rolled up through Greece until the time almost to the time I left.
I'm guessing day 17.
Yeah.
Things are pretty ripe.
Funky town. It was all cat baths, and you did the best you could, but it was really fresh, really fresh. And our forward operating base was on top of this hill, and there was an old abandoned chicken factory on top of it. and it stunk like shit, but it was a solid structure. So when it rained, it was a good place to go, but it had some nastiness on the floor. And our first night when we rolled up on that hill, nobody was there yet because I was part of the advance team that moved up there. So when we got there, it was pouring down rain, so we were like, let's just rack inside the building. And I woke up to a rat sniffing around my head and nibbling. And in Marine Corps fashion, I jumped up and screamed at a very high pitch. Very high pitch. Holy shit! and then some real Marines came in and spent the night trying to hunt it down because they were bored. And then I went back to sleep.
Fire in the hole!
Exactly.
Rat head goes flying.
And then I got back from that. I left active duty in 2000 because 2000 the Marines said, all right, it's time for your next place. And I said, nope, I'm staying here. I'm going to continue the company. So I left active duty, left the Marines, and then I joined the reserves. And that was 2000. And in 2001, 9/11 happened. And I was in Manhattan when it happened. And my reserve unit was the only reserve unit in Manhattan. So we were activated September 12th.
You were the first military group on the scene.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so September 12th, we were actually activated the night of September 11th.
Right.
And then we reported to Ground Zero on the morning of September 12th. And then we worked 12 hours on, 12 hours off from the 12th to the 18th, because it was still search and rescue at that point.
Right.
And they couldn't bring in heavy machinery because it was 6 stories of rubble.
Right.
So you couldn't bring in heavy machinery because you could have had cave-ins and stuff. So all that stuff had to be like ants going up a hill. There were just, hundreds and thousands, or not hundreds, but thousands of...
The bucket brigade.
Bucket brigades.
By hand, you had to.
Buckets go up, buckets come down full. Buckets go up empty, come down full. And we were just moving all that, trying to move the rubble as best we could out to the outskirts where they had heavy machinery to pick it up and take it to the barges and stuff like that. And then, of course, we were obviously looking for survivors. They'd stop everything. They'd sound a boat horn and everybody'd freeze. And they would lower these listening devices down. And to hear all the ruckus and it was just, felt like a square mile. And it would just instantly go quiet, just dead quiet. And you'd pause and you'd pause and you'd pause and people be praying and and then they'd give the horn like, keep going. It was a false alarm or nothing there.
Right.
So then we'd all go back to work, and then all of a sudden they'd sound another. There was different sounds, and if they sounded some sort of, it might have been like an air raid or something. It meant because some of the buildings they thought were still going to cave in on us.
Right.
They were structurally unsound, so all of a sudden the horn would go and everybody would just run for their lives because we thought one of the buildings was going to come down or one of those side buildings.
Right.
So it was very chaotic, very stressful. Then after the 18th, it became search and recovery. So we kind of moved off the rubble piles, and I actually went to One Police Plaza and helped coordinate the military and civilian efforts down at Ground Zero. Military dogs, all that kind of stuff, whatever we can do to coordinate with them. And that was till September 30th, and then after that, I got activated. I got pulled back onto active duty. At the time, I had a unusually high security clearance, which is pretty valuable to them at the time. So they said, all right. So they sent me down to Central Command. I got my orders on November 10th, 2001. And then I reported to Tampa, Florida, Central Command on November 17th.
And the 30th, you're in Afghanistan.
And the 30th, I'm in Afghanistan. So 20 days from the time I got my orders in New York, I was in Afghanistan.
And when you get to Afghanistan, you are assigned to...
I was a Marine, but they assigned me to the Army. I was with the 3rd Battalion, 5th Special Forces Group in Mazar-e Sharif. We were working with the Northern Alliance. We hadn't even taken the southern part of the country yet. So that's who I ended up working for, were those guys.
Holy crap.
Yeah. Then I did my whole year.
Yeah.
I did my time. I actually went back to Afghanistan in the summer. So I went there twice, deployed there twice. When my year was up, I went back to New York City, and a year later I got on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed the trajectory of that as well when I was going through the dossier. I would be a complete and utter jerk to not follow down this line first before we get to that.
Yeah.
personally historic moment that I know you had achieved a goal after waiting 10 years to achieve it from setting it, which was SNL.
You know that?
Buddy.
I haven't told anybody that story. I really don't feel like I have.
Listen, when I say dossier, all right?
Did you see the movie Inception?
Wow, that's amazing.
Well, clearly we were not the first to uncover it, but...
I don't feel like I told anybody. I've really shared that.
Well, it's important to forget things like that, so people like me look smart. But when you go to ground zero and you help in that effort, that is a calling from beyond any sort of training. That is a calling to humanity. Mm-hmm. The rest of us watching on TV or thinking and talking to our friends, thinking our lives will never be the same. That's what all I remember is every conversation I had with people. Yeah. Life will never be the same. Life will never be the same. Mm-hmm. Of course, it took about a year for most of our lives to get back to the same. Right. But for you, being a part of the effort right. on the actual ground zero site for those concentrated days of the 12 hours on, 12 hours off, mm-hmm. That can't possibly leave your blood system. Anytime.
No, it doesn't. And you know, if you remember back to those days immediately following 9/11, that sense of, you know, that sucker punch feeling that everybody was feeling, and that desperation, and you just wanted to help. That's all you wanted to do. You wanted to, you know, what can I donate? How can I? Right. Everybody just had that push that I just want to somehow make this right or help in some way.
Yeah.
So I actually felt, surprisingly, I felt very fortunate.
Thank God I have purpose.
Yes, I felt like I'm here, and I was a captain in the Marines, right. and you know my country was just attacked. So I was absolutely where I was in a very purposeful place, right. and so I could help. And
you probably felt more meaning to your life than the rest of us who were just sucker punched and clueless.
Well, so at least I could exercise. I could put myself into the mix and actually have a tangible end of the day being tired, like I did something today, and you know,
right.
and I didn't have to. I could burn that anxiety off.
And there's probably no sense when you're in it, I'm guessing, of your own thoughts, anyways.
Yeah.
You're so focused on the job at hand
mm-hmm.
as it's happening second by
mm-hmm.
moment by minute.
Yeah. No, I mean, I would go home at night and sit with my wife, and we would watch TV like everybody else, and. We would hear the stories, and you know, it was all unfolding, just like, you know, everybody else. And you know, I mean, those were terrible days. You know, I mean, we cried, and we were exhausted and emotionally spent and physically spent, and yeah, it was a tough time.
Right.
Yeah.
And then from there, you said you're deployed to Afghanistan. Was this a sense of the first time of being literally, as pedestrians might think, enemy line in terms of being in the line of fire and what have you?
Yeah, you know, when we went, I was actually doing public affairs work, so and civil affairs. I was helping out a little bit across it all. The Northern Alliance. That we had allied ourselves with, we pretty much had the North, that whole section, Mazar-e Sharif and everything. But it had been taken literally just a couple weeks before I got there. So there was, and you know, I even asked one of the guys, Special Forces guys, I said, now, how can I tell the difference between the Taliban, a Taliban guy, and a Northern Alliance guy? And
it's all so new.
What should I be looking for
here? It's 2.5, 3 months at most after 9/11, and I can't imagine the sense of having to sort those things out.
Right. And they said, well, there's no way you can tell.
So everyone's guilty the moment.
Well, technically, because what happened was the Taliban. There's no sense of allegiance over there. It's whoever's winning. That's who they're going to side with. Right. They don't back losers. They back the winners. And so if you know, if our side was winning, they took off their black turbans and they cut their beards and or at least trimmed them down, and now all of a sudden they're Northern Alliance.
Wow.
And it happens that fast. And you're like, well, okay, I guess we're friends. Not really. But that's how it works.
I know. Yeah, there must be that sense of 9 minutes ago you hated me, though, right?
Right.
Just to be clear,
yeah.
I'm America.
Right.
You hated me.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, so then let's one of the things we like to do, by the by, is to involve our audience.
And I hope I didn't bore your audience to death.
Dude,
I feel bad.
let me tell you something. There are so many people, not just me, who are utterly clueless as to what any of this may have felt like. These experiences of yours, you know, people know you from comedy, they know you from films, and they know you from UCB, and they love how ridiculously funny you are.
Right.
And then they hear a little bit about this,
Right.
and I tell you, a lot of the emails and a lot of the, you know, questions and tweets that we got ahead of time going into this were, I wasn't the only one that was fascinated in hearing just
good.
a little bit, and I felt like,
Oh, good. Well, good.
I got to hear some. I got to
Okay.
hear some.
Yeah, no
honestly.
problem.
'Cause to me, it's not a parlor game I'm after either.
Yeah.
It's like really a guy whose heart and soul is in comedy from the get.
Yeah.
To the point where he's weeks away from his wings and he makes this life decision at 24, then to still have to go and be deployed repeatedly, and then the 9/11, and then, I mean, reading all that in terms of the trajectory after making the life decision. I'm going to be a comedy. This is going to be great.
Yeah.
Sorry, which one is it, Taliban? that one? All right.
Some comments from the chat room are, wow, I didn't know he was such a hero. I knew he was in I had no idea he'd been through all this. I knew about him as a Marine, but not this. He's an American hero. Yeah, everyone's really impressed.
Well,
Yeah.
that was very nice.
Yeah.
That was very nice.
Right? We do now to the lighter side.
Yes.
You mentioned the Dave Koechner.
Yeah.
We started doing a thing prior to his appearance where we would ask a series of Coke or Pepsi questions in the form of, and they gave it, there's 5 of them.
Okay.
It's a this or that choice. And so we call it Tweet 5. And Dave said,
T5, T5, T5 forever now.
and we have a logo.
That's
and with
so
a graphic,
good.
T5 forever.
That's awesome.
And so the viewers will ask you
Right.
a series of and they come from Twitter as well. I asked for them earlier in the day. And so there's no correct answer.
Okay.
Rapid fire, this or that.
All right.
Tweet 5. Number 1, Bugs or Daffy?
Daffy.
Come on.
No, right? When somebody asked that,
No respect. Politics or religion?
God.
I know, right?
Politics.
Which one do you want to make fun of more?
Yeah.
New York or LA?
Ooh. And it cuts like a knife. Wow. L.A.
Really? And yet the hat.
And yet the hat.
Kosovo, Afghanistan.
Do you see how torn I am? I said L.A. in this.
Kosovo or Afghanistan?
Wow. Let's see. Kosovo.
And Jayhawks or Cardinals?
Jayhawks.
Come on.
What are we talking about? It's foolish.
Foolish.
That's easy. That's easy.
Yeah. Love that. And then so let's do the rapid fire tweet 5. We got another one already loaded. This from @Ross_Owen, one of our original viewers and pals of the show, offers up this tweet 5 to you.
All right.
Improv or scripted?
Improv.
Farrell or Gervais?
Farrell.
Laurel or Ann Hardy or Abbott and Costello?
Abbott and Costello.
Military or show business?
Show business.
Solo or troupe?
Troop.
You've been out in the trenches now as a solo stand-up.
Yeah.
Right?
I have been. I will say, I started as an improviser. That's kind of how I came up. That's where I kind of cut my teeth and learned about comedy. Then I shared an office with John Oliver at The Daily Show for 3 years.
Right.
And he's a stand-up, a very good stand-up.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I love him. I love watching him do his stuff. And he said, you should do stand-up. You should do it. And he kind of pushed me into it, and I did it. And I got to say, I love it.
When it goes well.
When it goes well, there's nothing like it. I mean, it's when you got that audience and they're with you and everybody's enjoying themselves and it's just coming and you're writing on your feet even.
Yeah.
It's truly, it's magical. It's really, really wonderful.
It's good to hear you say that, and I'll tell you why. Because I know that your background and training was in improvisation, and your friend calling you from Chicago saying you got to be here was all about. When he said you're funnier than all these fuckers, it was from an improvisational standpoint.
Sure.
It wasn't from a stand-up.
Nope.
And then when you get in that environment, there's no greater seat of your pants until you stand alone against the Christians.
Yeah. It's that last 30 feet. from the wings to the mic.
Right.
And if you walk it alone, God bless you.
Yeah,
You're a
and
special
even if
guy and
everything's
everything.
prepared, which at some point it'll be by rote, it just happens.
Yep.
You still have that, and also there's a sense that my favorite maybe is you could be destroying, you could be literally in ownership of their souls for 40 minutes, the first 40 minutes. Your set is timed where you've been asked and hopefully paid to do 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And at the 40-minute mark, you can lose them as if they hated you from the moment you walked on stage. And knowing
As if
that,
they forgot everything.
Did we not just
all
have the greatest
joy we
time
just
ever?
had? Yeah.
And knowing that,
Yeah.
that you could lose them at any moment, might be one of the things that fuels the excitement while you're on that stage.
I've actually gone through some sets where everything's cooking with gas, we're having a good time, and I'll stop and realize they're not with me anymore, and I don't know where I lost them.
Right.
And then it's like a desperate girlfriend. Then you get really clingy, and you start to panic a little bit, and you start grabbing for them, and then they're even colder.
Right.
And it's an amazing learning.
Have you said
experience.
those words yet?
What's that?
Have you broken that wall of concern and talked to them directly?
I have a couple times.
Because freedom lies for you there.
Yes, I
if
think
you
that's
just
right.
say, folks, well, what the fuck happened just now?
Exactly.
We were in love and now you hate me.
Well, the honesty always wins.
Right.
You know, if you talk about honestly what just happened, you know, if a waiter or a waitress drops drinks and stuff and then you pretend it didn't happen, no, you're missing something.
Yeah.
You've got to talk about it. You've got to talk about this drunk asshole in the front. You've got to talk about that. The reality of what's going on, you can't ignore.
You can't because they're painfully aware of it.
Yes, they are. And the more you try to pretend it's not happening.
Also, here's a bizarre subliminal thing. It makes them think they're seeing a one-of-a-kind show.
Right.
Subconsciously, they're not even aware of it.
Yep.
But there's a part of them that now you just stepped into David Copperfield.
Right.
No one's ever done this before.
Yeah, the thing I did notice though about it was the world of improv is very ensemble.
Yes.
It's we all go on stage and we all serve the comedy. We serve the piece. If that means I'm the straight man, I'm the straight man. If that means this and that, and you walk off the stage and everybody's high-fiving and going, man, that was so great when you did that, and I totally didn't, you know. It's just this love fest.
Yes.
You walk off stage after stand-up, and the other stand-ups go, fuck you.
Yeah.
And you go, I'm sorry? I'm not used to the icy
Nice
hatred.
try, fucker.
Yeah, nice try, and I can't believe, hack, whatever it is they say to you. It's just this feeling of...
That band of brothers is the thing that you missed the most, without question.
Yeah.
And as much as I insisted that until you stand alone, that seat of your pants is unparalleled. But you're absolutely right. You know, I hadn't really come from improv at all. In San Francisco, where I started, I was a stand-up. Right. I would go on stage on occasion with a couple of other guys, and had an amazingly great time.
Sure.
But I didn't have a sense of touring with people or being around a group until a few years back when we did a big anniversary for Just for Laughs Montreal thing, and we did like a 14-city tour, like 7 of us. And I'd never traveled with comics before with a common goal.
Sure.
And holy crap, was that fantastic.
Yeah.
Because then all the competition that's normally there was gone.
Right. There's a wonderful brotherhood.
Yeah, and in
Sisterhood,
fact,
whatever
you did like almost like a best of from the Daily Show at the Bonnaroo. Is that the first?
Yeah, we did one at Bonnaroo, and next Wednesday, we're going to be doing a show at Central Park. John Oliver, Wyatt Cenac, Rory Albanese, and Louis Black, and
What's
myself.
the date on that? Do you know?
July 21st, Wednesday night, Central Park, 8 p.m. I believe it's a free show.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So again, doing stand-up with a group might help bring back that sense of...
Absolutely. John Oliver and Rory Albanese, who's executive producer of The Daily Show, and myself, we've always talked about, let's get a bus, let's go out, let's go on the road, let's do some gigs, because we enjoy each other's company, and it's fun to hang out with people you enjoy, especially comedians. And then when we had a blast at Bonnaroo, because that's pretty much that same group, and you have fun. You come up with little contests, who can say this word in their set, who can work in this, who can flip the rest of us off the most during your set without being detected by the audience.
Holy crap.
Yeah. John Oliver won pretty much all those.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, he might have been the most seasoned.
He was.
Yeah.
Because he could be doing his whole set, and while he's and the crowd's out here and we're over there, and the whole time he's talking, his hand's behind his back, he's giving us the bird, and it's just glorious because he's not missing a beat. They're just as entertained as everything, but he's still servicing us.
Yeah.
It's glorious.
There's an old friend here in Los Angeles who does the. How much should I give away here? All of it.
Yeah.
There's an old friend. I am literally about to throw Mark Thompson under the bus. He does the weather on Fox here.
Watch out, because he's mad at me.
And Jamie says he's mad at me. And we had a regular poker game.
Okay.
And it was a weekday night, and he would have to leave the game at a certain time to go down the street to do the weather on Fox, and then come back to the game. So at some point we started to give him a challenge. Can you work in a phrase into the weather report?
Did you really? See, now that's the good stuff right there. That's what it's about.
Live weather, and he had to say the phrase "full house." He had to. So I don't know how he did it that night. Whether we got a full house of clouds coming in from the east, whatever the hell it was, he pulled it off so many times and never got fired. Until just now. What a sweet contract he once had at Fox. So, from flight school to UCB, and then you and Rob Hubel developed a kinship in terms of that world.
Yeah, and Paul Scheer, and Owen Burke, and a bunch of those guys.
And Respecto Montalban, was that, how many of those guys was in that?
Well, let's see. There was Jackie Clark. Well, it changed. It kind of always morphed. But at one point, Donna Fineglass, Jackie Clark, Danielle Schneider, Rob Hubel, Paul Scheer, Owen Burke, and Chad Carter and myself were, generally.
Right.
That was the group.
But the Kung Fu Grip was just.
That was just Rob and I.
Right.
That was just Rob and I. Yeah. Matter of fact, we wrote that, and then. We put it up once and did a bunch of notes, changed it, put it up again, and then I got deployed and left the country for a year and came back, and we picked it up and kept going. And like we hadn't missed a beat.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is there some place people can go to see a clip of that? We used to be able to show clips here, and then we couldn't get clearance.
Yeah, people ask for that, and I'm sad to say I don't think it's out there.
Well, then you know what that means.
Yeah.
In your next comedy special.
Yeah.
Because I know you just had one in March on Comedy Central, right?
Yes. Yes.
Your next one, maybe we see a little Kung Fu Grip.
Well, I would love to roll it out again. It was a fun show. It was really Ian Roberts, who was one of the Upright Citizens Brigade members.
Right.
He directed it, and Hubel and I wrote it, and they were fun characters.
And you and Scheer are working on The Designated Driver.
Yeah.
The first season of.
Yes.
Funny or Die on HBO.
And Owen Burke and I actually had that idea for a feature, and we were like, we went and pitched it, and the Funny or Die folks said, why don't you make it into a 4-part miniseries, and we'll put it on the Funny or Die show. And we're like, yeah, that sounds great. We can do that. So we broke it down and made 4 little episodes, 5 minutes each, and it was a blast.
Yeah, and you're doing something for the second season, though.
Yeah, we again, same guys, same guys, because we're all friends.
Sure.
Hubel, Scheer, Owen, and myself. Richard Shepard directed it, and John Stern produced it, and it's another miniseries. 4 episodes, 5 minutes each. This time we're out in the woods, and there's going to be some trouble.
Is there?
Real trouble. Yeah, it's going to be good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do we know when that second season's coming on?
I don't know. Maybe the fall, maybe next winter.
Right, whenever they decide it's time. All right, so let's go back to that moment where you're waited 10 years for your dream to come true, and you set that goal on a beach in Texas.
How do you know this? I'm sorry, it's just blowing me away. It really is impressive. I really maybe shared that story with maybe I shared more than I think.
No, you didn't.
Because
just the once.
Okay, because I really don't share it that often, but because it's probably going to be the Oprah story when that day comes, right? But
God willing.
God willing. Please, one time, Oprah, one time. All right, you want me? Can I tell you?
Please.
All right. When I decided to quit flight school, I was in Corpus Christi, Texas, and I'd never quit anything in my life, so it was a big decision, and I hated the feeling I had. So I said, if I quit, it's got to count. It's got to matter. It's got to count for something, because I can't just quit and then peter out somewhere and not have it count. So I wrote down in a book, if I quit flight school, this is what I'm going to do. And the first thing I wrote down was, I'm going to get on Saturday Night Live. That was it, first thing. And that was September of '94. And then in September of 2004, almost to the day, I got a call from Lorne Michaels saying, we'd like you to join the cast of Saturday Night Live.
And during that 10-year period,
Yeah.
when you went through the various stages of reality of the world of comedy, you're coming up the ropes in UCB, coming up the ranks. And at times that goal seemed lofty. At times it seemed doable. An audition for the show at some point feels imminent, I'm sure.
Yes and no.
Because people around you are starting to audition. Oh, I'm sure it took years to get to that place.
Yeah, it did.
But before that call, you had auditioned, and before you auditioned,
I was always hoping,
Right.
you know, because the UCB was so new that it really wasn't on the road stops yet.
Right.
You know, you hit Second City Toronto, you hit Second City Chicago,
Groundlings out
and
here.
the Groundlings out here, and stand-ups. You know, there wasn't much of an improv scene in New York.
Right.
So it wasn't, you know, until probably year 7 of me at the UCB before.
Is that where they saw Amy?
Well, yes. I think Amy, she had her show, Upright Citizens Brigade, on Comedy Central.
Right.
She had quite a reputation, and so I think she was easily recruitable. You know what I mean? She was
Of course.
amazing, so they kind of pulled from her. But then UCB started to get on the map, and they started to make that part of their stop.
Right.
And that's when I finally got a look-see.
And you and Hubel auditioned together as a team.
No.
See, we got something wrong.
Yep.
Finally.
Thank God.
Right?
No, but we auditioned
human.
Separately.
Oh,
We
you did.
auditioned separately. Yeah.
But you got called in around the same time?
Well, we were both in the same group. Because you know, when they call people in, they call in about 20 comedians, and then you do one night at a stand-up club. Even if you're an improviser, you just get up and do characters and monologues and stuff like that. And then if you make it to the second round, you actually go into the studio. So they do them back to back, and they call you after the first night and tell you whether or not you're coming in the studio the next day. And then after the studio, then they either call you or they don't.
And who's at the studio when you go in?
Head writers, main producers, and Lauren, and
So-
one camera guy and one stage director.
So there's an audience of like 12.
Yeah, no, not even that much.
Right.
I mean, probably honestly 8.
And literally on the studio, on the stage?
Yeah, where the host walks out and does the monologue, that's where you do your audition.
And are you thinking, hey, even if I get this, I'm on this goddamn stage?
Yeah, it's pretty neat, but it's also it's incredibly stressful because you're so close. You're so close.
Oh no, the brass ring is literally an inch from your
You
finger.
can see it. You can taste it. You're in the house.
Right.
It's there, and the thing is, the night before they saw you do your thing. You shot your wad the night before, and now and people were loving it because there was like 400 people in the house. But now there's 7 people, and they saw it last night, and so they tell
all
you
you got is the same act.
Same act. So they tell you, they say, now don't panic if nobody laughs, because they've seen it all, they've heard it all, they saw it last night, don't worry about it. And you're like, got it. No problem. Thanks for the warning. Now that I've been warned, I'm ice. I got it.
But the brain cannot...
The second you drop that first joke or that first, boom,
silence.
and you get nothing back, I don't care who you are, your heart rate goes.
Well, the brain can't process the warning in that moment.
Exactly. So you start to panic, and then you start to push. And when you start to push,
Guess what?
It unravels.
Here's the funny. There's the door.
Exactly. So it's a really, and then of course, as you're getting wired, as they're micing you up, they come in, and what was a 5 to 7 minute set,
Right.
they come in and they go, okay, I'm sorry, you got to cut that down to 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Got it? We're good? 4. And then they walk out.
And you're going,
and you're like, what do I drop? What do I drop? What do I drop? And I think it's built in, to be honest with you. I think it's built in for the stress to see if you can hack, because it's a live show.
I wouldn't know actually what that. Oh no, wait, it was backstage of the Tonight Show before going out with Johnny. that happened.
Right?
That's why it's the Kevin Pollak chat show.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Kevin, we need 4 minutes.
You're just drawing a picture of yourself.
Yeah, there's very few things more nerve-wracking than the live.
And it does pay off because they do want to. It is a little bit of a gauntlet for a reason.
I wonder if it's not part of their game plan to test you in that regard.
That's what I mean. Yeah. I think that's what it is. Because I specifically remember walking to set. I was in a sketch. It was at the end of the night. The band had gone too long on their second song. So as we're walking to the set, I'm still getting on my wardrobe or whatever as we're walking.
This is at a live
show. Everything's going. And the writer comes up as we're walking, just joins in our walk, and goes, "Hey, we had to cut the sketch. Don't worry about it. Changes are on the cards." And I was like,
"Don't worry about it. Changes are on the cards."
Yeah. I was like, "What? Tell me what's cut. Tell me what's cut. Lights are coming up. Back in 5, 4." And then you're like, well, I guess they're on the cards. And now I'm on live TV, and boy, I hope this works out, because the way I'd learned it all week was she's going to say this, I'm going to say that.
Absolutely.
And now you're literally just reading along with everybody.
There's nothing funnier than watching a guy read. Right. You can't get funnier than that.
Right.
You kidding me?
Yeah, but it's high anxiety at times.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so.
All right. Let's bring in our live viewers. This is the fun what?
Do you screen these, or is this going to be, "Tell that fat bastard to go back to Kansas"?
We have to stop screening them because I need one of those. Send me one of those, Jamie.
There was one that was like, "Is he really that big as he seems?" or something like that.
I am. I'm a friggin' house, all right?
He's big. He's big in the business, you son of a bitch. Okay, we're going to go to another Tweet 5, it looks like.
No
Kettner.
T5.
No, the graphic has to come every time. It's not the same. These are all, okay, this one from at Cockamamie, and I'm not kidding. What are you? Oh.
Is that what I look like?
It's a total distorted screen.
Jesus.
Yeah. At Cockamamie, ready? And these are all very, very tough.
Yeah.
These are the more serious ones.
All right.
Fall or spring?
Fall.
Captain Crunch, Captain Jack.
Captain Jack. That's the junk, isn't it?
I don't know if they mean the song or Captain
junk.
Jack Sparrow or.
I'll take the junk.
When you're at the movies, popcorn or M&Ms?
Popcorn with Milk Duds.
There you go. 7 or 11?
I like both, thank you. Together.
In the form of a sign?
With a hyphen.
For your Willy Wonka delights, Wilder or Depp?
Wilder.
I can't
Duh.
agree.
That's another Daffy
anyone
question.
say Depp?
I know.
I think he only let that whole Tweet 5 through so that we could scrutinize that last one. At Cockamamie, if I may, you idiot. How dare
She's a
you?
regular viewer, be nice.
We love you for being a regular viewer. How dare you pose
Wilder
or Depp? That's like Satan or God.
How dare you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Although, not to offend.
And apparently the Captain Jack question was the name of a character you played on The Office.
Hello.
Oh, yes.
That was what she was trying. She was trying to be
Captain
clever.
Jack on the booze cruise.
Yes.
That's right.
The junk. Or otherwise. You went right to heroin. You thought she was asking, do you like Captain Crunch or heroin?
What gets your day started better? The junk, lady.
Yeah. I took one thing home from Afghanistan.
And that's a taste for the junk.
My H. All right, so...
Sweet release.
So here's what we're gunst to do, if and you don't mind.
No.
We have soared into an hour 20, and I'm sure you can't even believe it. Although you and I have only had an hour. I spent the first 20 rambling.
Did we really do an hour just now?
We did, sir.
I'm embarrassed. Did I say anything worthwhile?
Shut the fuck up.
No, I mean it. I feel like I was just like blathering about myself.
We were so against it getting started.
Remember that time when I fought for our country? That was boring, right?
Yeah. Dude, not only that, yes. However, did they not tell you, because I know we were crunched time-wise, getting everything set up, and we were like yelling things at you
no.
as you got into the seat, but they didn't tell you, I have an ejection button over here. So
good.
So if you had sucked...
I had heard rumor about a trapdoor, but an ejection...
No, you go straight through. Yeah.
Right
It's
back to the
hilarious.
parking lot.
In fact,
Please.
just for shits and giggles.
Please don't.
Look, let's go to Sam's. Ready, Sammy? Do it. All right, we're going to come back and
tease me
talk
every
about
week.
The Daily Show and a few other things.
Awesome.
We're going to take a brief intermission for only one reason. My boring, awful diet is a gallon of motherfucking water a day. And
Just
if I don't
say I
piss,
gotta
my
piss.
head's going to explode. So, here's the good news.
All right.
You get to sit here and be insanely entertained by a 2-minute clip, which is a sneak peek at my 1-hour stand-up special debuting on Showtime July 29th.
Congratulations.
That's what we're going to show during this little intermission.
I love it. I can't wait to see it.
Cross-promotion.
Cross-promoting whore, yeah. Not about you, it's about me, not about you. My, me, mine, mine.
That's my whole life.
Hey, that came out. That was outdoors. That came out of your face.
Oh, I thought it was muted.
I thought I was muted. That's the name of her second book. All right. So enjoy this sneak peek. Those of you that saw Christopher Walken read Lady Gaga's Poker Face on a talk show, it's been all over the interwebs now for, gosh, forever, many months. That's what this parody is based on. This is the cold opening to my Showtime special. Enjoy. We'll be back in 2 hours in a couple of seconds. 2 hours, 2 minutes and a couple of seconds. I'm all right. 3 little kittens. They lost their mittens. They began to cry. Oh, mother dear, we sadly fear mittens we have lost. What? Lost your mittens. It's crazy. You naughty kittens. Then you shall have no pie. Meow. 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 Mugu Gai chicken. Kung Pao tofu. Mongolian beef with snow peas. Janice or Flamansky. Say it with me. Janice or Flamansky. Cross-promoting whore. Yes, debuts July 29th, and then many dates in August, and DVD available shortly after that. It's called The Littlest Suspect. You, on the other hand, how much fun to shoot your own stand-up special on the Comedy Central. Now,
Wonderful.
you had been touring at that point for a couple of years?
Yeah.
Was it an hour, half hour? How long?
It was a half hour.
Still, tremendous pressure to do your first one.
Yeah. And but I felt really good about it. I felt it was fun, and I had a good time. And
Had you done TV versions, appearances on television shows doing just stand-up?
no.
prior to that?
No.
So literally the first time you're doing stand-up in front of cameras.
Yes.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd been through a lot.
Yeah.
At that point in preparation.
Right.
Still, walk us through a little bit of that. How much are you working on the material ahead of time? Is it just overworked at that point? You have an hour, but you only have to do a half hour, so it seems easy.
I had more than a half hour.
Right.
So it did seem, I felt comfortable. I was actually, though, we shot it in New York at John Jay College at the auditorium there. But I was actually shooting a movie in New York during that time, The Other Guys, which is coming out in August.
August 6th.
August 6th, so
Yes.
it's just around the corner. But I was shooting a movie in New York doing that, so I'm actually working on the movie, but also trying to get gig fit.
Yeah.
You know, I'm pretty much gig capable anytime,
Right.
but gig fit is a different thing. And so I literally, the night before I taped it, I flew to Boston College. And I went up to Boston and just did a show at Boston College real quick to, you know, get in front of the audience and try to get it tightened up. And then I was sneaking around town to the slipper room, to the piano room, to comics, to anybody who would have me, you know, just getting up and you know, if they said, oh, I can give you 10, I can give you 15, great, that's all, you know, great, anything you got. I'll work on this chunk, I'll work on that chunk. And
were you able to actually do the entire set? Because it's tough to get more than 10 or 15 minutes at any club in New York.
Yeah. Just the only time I got to run it top to bottom was the night before at Boston College.
Well, thank goodness you got one of them.
Yeah, exactly. So so that felt good, but I knew it. And the thing was, you know, when you do Comedy Central, you know, they do make you tweak some things because my stuff isn't dirty per se. Like I don't talk about body parts and all, you know, and I don't. It's not nasty. It's just I like to use some colorful language.
Are you dropping F-bombs?
I drop an F-bomb every now and then,
Right.
and but it's usually serves the purpose. It's not gratuitous, but I had to clean that up a little bit.
Right.
I didn't lose much, but it was just interesting. I had to be conscious of it when I was saying it.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Well, that's the thing about doing a spot on a talk show or whatever.
Right. You do have. Yeah, exactly.
I didn't do that until quite recently, the actual stand-up bit. But boy, oh boy, is that a bizarre thing that you should look forward to.
Yeah, I'm actually very excited. I've got some.
Because you did a bunch of Conan O'Brien's, you obviously appeared on other talk shows, but you
But
just
always,
come out and sit down and have a conversation?
No, it was always I was always in some sort of bit.
Oh, really?
It was always a bit. I probably did 20 or 30 appearances on Conan, never once as a comedian doing stand-up or as a guest, only as a bit player.
In a sketch?
In whatever sketch he was doing.
Holy crap.
You know, guy in the audience who was giving his wife a hard time or yelling at him, or security guard who came in and grabbed one of his guests and threw him out, or you know, or Tarzan, or whatever they had me doing. So I was always doing bits on his show, but I never got to do any stand-up.
And was that before, or during, or after SNL?
That was before SNL.
All before.
All before.
So fantastic. You're already doing sketch work on Conan.
Yeah.
I wonder if that has something to do with Lauren seeing you and becoming aware of you because he produces that show.
It might have. I truly think that what I think happened was I think Amy Poehler and Horatio Sands, who were on the show at the time and were down at the Upright Citizens Brigade, I think they whispered in his ear, you ought to check out this guy. So I think that's why I got invited to try out.
And you send them both money, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's terrible. I don't have that much to give necessarily.
All right. So after SNL, you've got this other huge audition, which is for The Daily Show,
Right.
which is in '06.
Yes.
And the show had been all the monster hit by then.
Yeah.
And you are, in fact, technically, or I'm sure someone's in your face, if not everyone, you're up to replace, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But Rob Corddry was leaving.
He and Ed Helms.
Ed Helms.
Yeah, they kind of, Ed and Rob left first, and Ed kind of did this transition thing where he transitioned from The Daily Show to The Office. And so he was leaving. So they had two spots open up
Right.
simultaneously. And so they kind of went on this big search.
Right.
And I remember thinking, oh, you know, this is going to be a long shot at best, because from what I understood, they were going all over the place looking for.
Right.
They went to Vegas, Toronto, Chicago, L.A., New York, London.
Holy crap.
They went everywhere.
That where they found John Oliver?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I auditioned out here, just like any other audition. You go in, you know, you read a piece, you do your best, and then I didn't hear anything for months.
Holy crap.
Well, not months.
Seemed like
weeks.
months.
Weeks. Yeah, probably 3 weeks. So I didn't think anything of it. And then I got a call saying they want to fly you out to audition in the studio with John. So I said, great, oh my God, you know, that's amazing. So so I flew out there, and they put you back in these green rooms, the dressing rooms.
At that point, you had moved here?
Yes, I had moved from New York to here, and I had just gotten here. This would have been June of '06.
So how long had you been set up camp in L.A.?
Not even a year.
Not even a year?
Not even a year.
And you have a family with you now?
Yes.
At that point?
Yes, and I brought them all out here.
Big, huge move.
Yes.
Gigantic move.
Really big, coast to coast.
Well, I didn't necessarily mean miles. I meant milestone in life.
Well, I meant mile. That's how I deal with everything. Miles.
Yeah.
Mileage.
I foolishly asked you how many clicks when you were driving here.
Right.
So now you're going to audition for a show that would, obviously you and the family would have to move back to New York.
Well, one would think.
But
no.
Got the job, didn't have to.
Well, what happened was I went and I auditioned, and I thought I blew it. And here's the thing: after SNL, that was the problem. I took a drink and I gave him one of those, but I thought it served the purpose. I thought it served the piece.
Yeah.
He didn't see it that way. Then I palmed his face and shoved him out of his seat. Again, not so much.
Funny to you.
Yeah, but I took it where it needed to go. And I was like, now that's what I'm talking about, John. That's the jazz. That's the juice. As I helped him up in whatever. When I went and auditioned, I had been unemployed for a while, and I was seriously contemplating going back on active duty.
Holy shit.
Yeah, because I was like, I've got to support my family, and I can't get by on nothing.
Yeah.
And so I was danger close to going back on active duty, and I was a major at the time, so I would have been able at least to provide for my family. That's at the end of the day, that's what you got to do. And so I remember I went in the audition, and John was like, do you want to practice one, and then we'll do it? And I was like, that's great, thank you. Because I really hadn't read off a teleprompter, and I'm not very good at it. So I did it, and I was kind of fucking around and being loose, trying to loosen up, and then I dicked up one part of it, but I kind of made light of it and moved on. And he goes, that was great. All right, let's do the desk piece. And I was like, but I thought you said that was a
practice.
Yeah, practice. But I didn't say that out loud. I'm just thinking it because I'm nervous and scared, and this is John's world, not mine. So I'm like,
how amazing to have those feelings and not share them. But seriously,
idiot, not share them.
No. I think it was wherewithal to realize this is John's world, but to be able to compute that so quickly. Yeah. Because you have a nanosecond to say, could I please do it one more time? Yeah. An unbelievable choice I think you made not to.
Well,
to trust that if he's ready to move on, far be it for you.
Yeah, by the way. So I quickly went, fuck me. So I quickly had to shift and move into, because now we're doing the desk piece. Because you do a stand-up and you do a desk piece. And we did the desk piece, and I was still thinking about the other thing.
Right.
Instead of being in the moment for the
desk
desk
piece.
piece.
Do I say something now? Do I ask now?
And so I did my best to make a little light banter with him. At the end of it, we shook hands, and I went back to my dressing room. And they had flown in a couple other people.
Sure.
So I sat in my dressing room, and I called my wife, and I said, I blew it. I'm very sorry. I think I'm gonna have to go back on active duty. It's no problem. I think I can get on down in Camp Pendleton, down there in San Diego.
Sure.
And she's like, well, you don't know anything yet. Just don't panic, She's very calming, my wife. And I said, no, it's over. It's all over. This whole business, this whole stupid dream, just scream.
Where are my wings?
Exactly.
I want my wings.
And
Clarence.
I was doing I was doing the Scotty J from Boogie Nights, where he's drunk going, I was so fucking stupid. And so I did. I told her, I said, that's it. I'm going back, and we'll deal with it. I'll see you when I get home. And then the producers came in, and they said, now you understand the role of the correspondent. You're going to be on the road a lot. You're going to be doing the stuff. And
while you're in your dressing room waiting.
Yeah, and I was like, okay. And then they said, well, would you like to be a correspondent on our show? I said, yeah. I think I actually said, fuck yeah. And then I immediately was like, now I'm trash, you know, so they think I'm trash. But I was like, yes, thank God. And I celebrated and went out and called my wife and said, well, I got the job. I got the
Were
gig.
you a little more drunk the next time you called her?
Yeah, exactly.
I fucking love you.
You're a rock. You're a fucking rock, baby.
Alcatraz is a wuss next to you. You're the rock.
Exactly. And you know, I got the gig and that was great, but I literally had just moved my family to LA.
Sure.
So they literally had just come across the country in June.
I think that was the point I was making.
And then I got the gig in July. So now I've just literally done this with my like shell game with my family. So now they're out here, and I just got the gig back east. So now I'm the whole first year. The way they do it is, you know, they're like, well, you got the gig. Let's see how you do. We'll give you 6 months. We'll see how it feels. See if we like you. You like us. That basically, if you're, you know, you don't shit the bed.
Sure.
So so it was probation basically. So for 6 months I had to commute from LA to New York.
Yeah, you're not going to move the family back for probation.
Exactly. So then after the probation, they were like, you're good to go. So I was like, great. What does that mean? They're like, you're good to go for another year. We got you for another year. So I was like, deal. But then I was like, I don't know. If I move the family out here, you know, they don't pay a lot.
Yeah.
So I would be living out in Jersey somewhere in a small apartment, and we just had a kid, and I don't know. And there's I don't want to bore you with this whole other story, but it ended up the whole time. Oh, that's why you're the best. But ended up the whole time I was on the Daily Show, I was commuting.
Right.
Long distance.
How often would you fly back? Because that's crazy.
Yeah. About every
couple of weeks.
Every couple weeks. Yeah. I go probably the longest I'd ever go without seeing the fam was about 3 weeks.
Right.
But then, yeah, so 2 to 3 weeks. And then I'd go back and spend, and I wouldn't get that much time. You know, you're talking about a 3-day weekend.
Yeah.
And then I'd have to get back. So
still way better than re-enlisting.
Way better
for your family.
Yes, I mean, by far. And then John was so
and pays just a little bit less, by the way, from being a major to being a correspondent on the Daily Show. I can only imagine, because John made a $40 million deal, and there's no money left for you.
That's right.
No.
That's it. But yeah, I have. It was great because John was he let me grow, I guess, on that show is the best way to put it. Because, you know, it was still pretty green in a lot of aspects.
But also it's something that you hadn't done, really. And to be creatively challenged at that point, quite frankly, in somebody else's world, in somebody else's format, go, fuck, I can do this too?
Right.
It must have been a sense of that.
Well, it's definitely, there is a sense of that.
Or maybe just looking back on it.
Well, it was just nice because John saw something that he was like, okay, there's something there. Now, how do we polish it and get it where it needs to be?
Well, there was an energy that didn't exist on the show.
Right.
There's a fairly, almost instantly obvious energy that you have in whatever your thing is that doesn't exist in whoever's playing around you.
Right.
And it's nice to sort of bring that into the mix, and I think maybe that's why people like Adam McKay and Farrell are now bringing you back repeatedly. Let's talk a little bit about working for those crazy cats. The first time was in the Talladega Nights.
Yes, a very small little role, and it got edited down to even smaller. But that's fine. It still made it in.
How much film had you done prior to that? A couple little things there.
A couple little things. Nothing on a feature-level Hollywood studio movie.
Porn.
A lot. What are you talking about? Huh? Forget about it.
Right. I heard it hit the table. I didn't want to say anything. I thought, do we have a dog?
What's that?
No, just. Yeah.
Even knocked. It even knocked. That's the kind of
power and control.
Power and elasticity. Yeah, no, that was the first thing, and you know, Adam had seen me do improv at the Upright Citizens Brigade, and I had actually done a show that he had directed. I think it was called George Bush is a Motherfucker or something like that. And
the Will Ferrell thing? No.
No. It was just
one of the shows at UCB.
Yeah, UCB. So he had seen me there, and I guess he had seen me on SNL and some other stuff. But anyway, he invited me to come down and do a small part, and he's great because he lets you improvise. He's an improviser, so he gets it, and he lets you run. he's a genius director, I think, in the sense that he lets you do this, do it once by the book, once with notes, 5 takes, what you got.
Yeah.
And then
that's dreamlike for you.
Oh my God! And especially when you're playing with other players that love to just go, and they can, and everybody kind of knows. Improvisers know, okay, oh, I'm the straight guy, so I've got to slide into that role, or maybe I'm the crazy guy, or and so it's kind of fun. And Will is amazing at it. He knows how to do that stuff, and they turn it on and off in a heartbeat. You can be having a very sincere conversation, and they'll come at you with just an awesome, bizarre, out of the world question, and you're like, okay, now we're playing.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
And so I got to do Talladega, just a small part in Talladega, and then
when you're brought back for
Step Brothers.
Step Brothers.
Yeah, and then we got to do a scene that it was a really funny scene. I had a heart attack in the room with Will, and they ended up having to cut that out of the movie because I don't know Will's attitude. They wanted him to be more assertive or something, so we ended up going back and reshooting that scene. And then we improvised in the reshoots and came up with the whole POW, thing.
Right.
And then just.
Damn, that's a funny movie.
Oh, and when we're out at the Catalina wine mixer,
Yes.
and I tell him that I just want to, I don't know what it is, something about his face. I
I want to punch your face. I think they showed that in the trailer. That's how big that moment was.
Well, they, again, all improvised. It was just all that kind of stuff. And McKay
You improvised? I think I want to punch your face?
Yeah. I don't know what it is. I just want to punch you in the fucking face. and I love Will because instantly he was like, well, I'll think about that and I'll try to make it work on it. And I go, no, just don't. Your voice is making me fucking crazy right now. But like McKay would be yelling stuff. He goes, keep going. Tell him what else. Tell him what else. And I'd be like, you know how a cat I just want to tear into your face like a cat would a tomato. and Will just be trying to take it all in and deal with it in real life. Like, how would you deal with this if someone is saying this shit to you? And to watch him, and then of course, eventually both of us would get the giggles. But we did a lot of takes on that. It was just a good time. It's always a good time when you get to work with those guys.
And the other guys is the one that's coming out August 6th?
Yeah, other guys is coming out August 6th, and we shot that this fall. And again, it's just more of good times. And they got fun people. Michael Keaton, who's a great comedian. Genius, fun guy. He's in it. And, to sit around and do bits with Michael Keaton all day, it's just a gift. It's a gift.
Yeah.
And you forget because he's so good. He's doing a bit with you and you don't even realize until you're halfway through the bit.
He's one of the fastest funny people that's ever been.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's amazing. And then, McKay, there's no judgment. If you try something on his set, you're not going to get your pee-pee slapped for it. He'll say, he goes, that was great. He goes, I could watch that all day. More. And you're like, really? Great, and then you go for it.
Right.
Or he'll say, go back to what we were doing earlier.
Sure.
And it's non-threatening. It doesn't hurt.
No, you're actually doing theater improvising in a film.
Absolutely.
That's pretty phenomenal.
And Will's the same way. Will's very gracious. He'll let you have your moments, and it's all good.
Yeah. I was taken aback at how unbelievably friendly and disarming. We both were, right, Jamie, when we first met him in New York after the show with Will Ferrell, after we met him at the
Yes, after the
party after the Radio City show.
Yes, it was the.
What was it? You did a little impression of him. What did he say it was when he first?
No,
met?
it's exactly what I was thinking about that whenever he said that because he's like, it's exactly how he talks. He's like, yeah, well, I'm going to try to fit that in. That's exactly how he is.
I love how you did him when you first greeted us. He said,
"Hey guys."
Yeah. Hey guys.
Hey.
I saw you sitting there in the front row of the show. Did you have a good time?
Genuinely excited.
Yes.
Genuinely happy.
And you think, is he doing a bit?
Yeah. Like, are you fucking with me?
He's not doing a bit. That's really what
He's a genuinely nice, warm guy.
Yeah.
The kind of guys you want to be in business with.
Yeah. Not so much me.
I want to be in business with you. Are you kidding me? Holy cow.
We'll talk after the show. Are you enjoying your million fans on Twitter? Million followers, excuse me.
Yes,
million plus.
Very much so. I'm
Have you made Kool-Aid for him yet?
I'm honored.
I don't know what to do with it. I mean,
I'm honored that they keep plugging in and listening and that
I follow you and I have no idea why they're following you.
I took the pressure off myself because you see that and then you're like, oh, I got to dazzle. Oh, what's it going to be? And you'll be a wreck in a week. So and pumping them out all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to be honest with them. I'm going to tell them what I'm doing. If I'm doing something interesting, I'll tell them what I'm doing. If I see something funny, I'll put it down. If I go 2 days without tweeting, 3 days without, I went 2 or 3 days without tweeting because nothing happened.
Right.
Or I'm busy. I'm working on a movie.
So you decided to have a life while being on Twitter?
It's a gamble.
Freak.
It's a gamble.
You are a renegade. Yeah, I follow you. I don't know what all the hubbub's about. From the chat room, ask if Jon Stewart works most with him and others, or if the writers and producers do.
Jon is the captain
Yep.
of the boat.
Right.
He runs the Daily Show. It's his world, and he weighs in heavily on the stuff that goes
Everything.
on. Yeah, I mean, top to bottom. And
As he should,
We
yeah.
do a run through before the show, and then we go back and do rewrites, and it's in Jon's office, and it's the script's up on the screen, and Jon, he weighs in. He's like, no, change this to that. Boom, boom, boom. Let's tighten your thing up. I mean, he's heavily engaged. It's Jon's baby.
Good.
Top to bottom.
That's
And
good to hear.
Yeah, and it is good because he is.
That ship needs a captain.
And he's a great leader. He's a great captain. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He can take something that's funny and make it better.
Yeah.
That's an amazing skill.
His stand-up is astonishing.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll ever tour because he's got all he can do with that show. But oh my.
Yeah. Well, I watch him. Just go out and talk to the audience before the show.
Right.
And a lot of times if I'm doing a segment or whatever, you're always waiting in the wings, and he'll be talking to the crowd before the show, 10, 15 minutes, and it's gold.
Yeah.
Every time it's gold. And it's not the same bits. It's not the same, he's mixing it up. He's very engaging. He's a wonderful guy.
Yeah.
And that question came from On Loc, O-N capital L-O-C.
Thank you, On Loc, for that delightful question. We appreciate all the questions that come in from the live viewers. I warned you about the Larry King game, but before we get to that, there's another game we like to play here.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yes. And you weren't warned about it.
Uh-oh.
But I know you do have the Twitter in your life, so I think
Yes.
you're going to enjoy this. There's going to be a little wagering involved. Not your money, but a prize. We will be playing against each other.
Oh.
And the name of the game, well, let me bring out the host. Sam Levine, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. It's this week's Who Tweeted, Tyra, Paris, or Demi edition. Rolling. Come on, let's do it.
Who tweeted?
Who tweeted?
Tyra, Paris, or Demi?
Which one of these gals tweeted?
All right.
That's what I want to know.
So you want to explain the rules to our,
All right, here we go.
our challenger?
Here's how it's going to go.
All right.
All right.
You shooting the cuffs already? You shooting the cuffs?
Already? So I'm going to read a series of 8 tweets.
Yeah.
All right? And after I read it, you are going to ring in, and you ring in by saying your name, which in your case would be...
Rob Riggle.
Rob Riggle. You're ready to say Rob, or he'll say Kevin, and I'll say all right, and you have 3 seconds to tell me whether you think that tweet was written by Tyra, Paris, or Demi.
Got it.
Now, for every time you ring in, you get it right, you're going to get yourself 5 points.
Okay.
Every time you ring in, you get it wrong, you're going to lose 3.
Oh, snap. You
I know.
lose?
Yeah, you lose points.
Got to be
Unlike
something
somebody
at
here.
stake.
And if you leave...
Stakes, huh? What is this?
If you end
Kitty
the game
poker?
with negative points, by the way, we're going to take it off in fingers.
Yeah.
It's a new rule.
These are high stakes.
sorry.
You're playing games.
Turns out we're not fucking around.
Could I just get slimed?
No.
Nah.
I
Play for
just
keeps
get
here.
slimed.
We play for keeps.
Damn, you're missing gold. Couldn't I just... I know, you're working. I
She's
know.
leaving. I bored her to death.
No,
already.
she's working. She doesn't run
I do
that
like
room.
6 things at a time. And
She
it's like,
doesn't-
if I don't listen to everything that comes out of
Yeah.
Kevin's mouth, he's like, did you hear that? Did you hear that?
She has 7 people yelling at her in the chat room. So is there? What's involved? What's involved? What's
we
at
know how to play
stake?
the game.
What do you got there? What is that?
Now, Jason Kalkanis, the owner here of Mahalo, I guess he ran out of toilet paper in his private bathroom. There was just a giant, just a wad of 20s right by the bowl,
Yeah.
which I'm guessing he uses now as toilet paper. So I grabbed this one, and that is what you gents will be playing for.
Holy crap!
That
Sweet.
Probably not terribly clean $20 bill.
That's good.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Randy Travis. That's weird.
This is a little weird. Did not realize. Here
All right.
we are. Tweet number 1.
Paris, Tyra, or Demi?
What's your favorite flaw, and how do you embrace it? Mine's gotta be my 5 head.
Kevin, Tyra.
That's correct.
Oh, buddy boy.
finish that tweet.
You're
That's
going
gotta be
down,
my
fucker.
5-head, and I've been wearing my real hair to show it off.
The 5-head was what gave it away, but you were on top of that 5-head so fast.
Yeah, you can ring in anytime. You don't have to wait till I finish the tweet. I really should say that because you do it every time.
Should we just
No, you got that. That's clean.
No, you got it.
You're clean.
He's got time to catch up.
Boy, does he.
Tweet number 2. Ran into Todd Phillips tonight. He's one of my favorite directors. So amazingly hilarious and cute, too.
Rob. Demi.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, come on!
Paris.
And the next thing was The Hangover is the best movie.
Oh.
That was the second part of that tweet.
Mr. Zap. What was your character's name? The guy that was quick to zap and hang
Oh,
on?
yeah, Officer Franklin.
Oh, that was great. That was great.
That's
Really.
my sister's favorite quote at the moment is "Not up in here." And she calls me all the time. It's always
Again, improvised. That's all that stuff is improvised.
Not up in here.
Nah, yeah. Because she said, not up in here. I'm like, not up in here! Get mad about it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no need for me to get mad about it.
Now your sister has to be nice to you for a week. Because not only you got to do it, but you got him to do it. All right, tweet number 3.
Tweet number 3. So excited about the announcement of my new beauty and fashion online destination. Can't wait for you to see it.
Rob, I forgot my name. Paris. God, I'm losing. Oh, wait, did I say Paris? Because I meant Tyra.
Jesus, it's Tyra. I'm sorry.
Son of a...
Oh, Rob, it's all right.
tricky. They're all so
They're
similar.
very tricky. We want them to not be obvious, you know.
It's all right.
By the way, do you see how Kevin is? He's just sitting there letting me do this. He's letting me dig my own hole.
Yeah, of course. I'm not stupid. I got one right. I got one
He's
right.
got his 5. He's got nothing to fear.
all you do is get one right and one wrong, and then that again, and then you'll be fine.
And my sister, I didn't even know was in the chat room, just wrote in all caps, "Not up in here."
Oh,
I
nice.
didn't even know she was in there.
Nice. Hello, Jacqueline.
Now, is the reason you're not telling me what's going on in the chat room is because literally it's just hate mail?
I know. I told you earlier. Everyone was very proud.
Yeah, but that's what you tell the guest, and then when I leave, everybody gathers around the laptop and they go, "Oh my God!"
Nothing negative
They
has been
shredded
said
this
about
guy.
you.
All right.
Nothing.
No, I was
I
in
mean,
the
people
chat.
get off topic a lot, but
I was in the
know.
chat room once. The
Yeah.
truth of the matter, most of what's going on in there is talking about anything but what we're doing. They're like, could you believe that?
So it's arguments that go
A
on
lot of
between.
Simpson quotes.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I didn't mean to get.
They're
you.
having
No,
fun.
no, it's fine. This is just
They're having
tedious
fun
now.
with it without us. All right. All right, Sammy, back to the game.
Tweet number 4.
Yeah.
Please vote for Tara Smith as she's been nominated for Hairdresser of the Year 2010.
Kevin,
Just
to
goes-
me.
That's correct.
Oh, man. Smokey Joe.
How do you know this?
Don't.
Did you pull this out of my bag throughout
No.
the week and read them?
No.
right.
That one was actually based on, he hadn't read a Demi one since
All right.
since the beginning. All right, go ahead.
Tweet number 5. You're still in this, man. You're still in this. Tweet number 5.
I think that was the first Demi one you read. Anyways, go ahead.
Hung out at the new pool club Surrender at the Encore Hotel with Steve
Rob.
Wynn.
One time, Rob. Paris.
That's got to be right.
That's correct! There it is.
And just like that, a -6 becomes a -1. You are back in it, mister.
Climate is 0. That's my book.
Well, I really hope you get to at least 0, because that pinky is looking pretty sweet to me right now,
Yeah.
friend.
Oh, damn.
What happened to the 20, by the way? Did he take it already?
What?
Whoa! That is...
Mama didn't raise no fool. I may not win the game, but I'm taking your damn money. Let's go back to the tape.
That is some
I
Navy
want to see.
SEAL shit.
I want to see. What's some Navy SEAL shit? I'm playing against a Marine like a jackass, thinking I'm gonna fucking win.
You were observant, though. You didn't notice
This
it was
guy
going
helped refugees in Kosovo find their wallets. Come on, I can't. All right, there's no tape. I thought maybe we had an instant replay of seeing him steal that. We'll show that next week. Okay, back to the contest. There are 3 questions left. You can totally take over.
Totally win this thing.
Yeah.
Tweet number 6. Just landed in Brazil. Now on my way straight from plane to work. I have a fitting, then photo shoot.
Kevin
and walking
Tyra.
in a runway show. Wrong, motherfucker!
Son of a bitch! This game is rigged! Horse shit!
I'm sorry. That would be Paris. Paris.
Fuck is she doing in Brazil?
She was in Vegas, Brazil, Los Angeles, and New York in the course of like 2 weeks, just from reading her tweets.
That's right. She's Paris Hilton.
Yeah.
My
When
mistake.
you have a private jet, you know,
Yeah.
you can go anywhere.
All right.
All right, boys. This is it. It's down to the wire now. Last 2 tweets. Tweet number 7. Congrats to @Camilla Harris for winning the primary elections for California
Jesus.
Rob.
California Attorney General.
It sounds.
3 seconds.
Dimming.
Did you say Tyra?
You did. It sounded like
I heard Tyra.
No, I ate it.
No, I
ate it.
totally heard Tyra because that puts you at +4, and since Kevin's at +7, now this last tweet.
The last tweet is worth 10 points, and that's how he's still in the game. He is at -4. Marine's not going to cheat. Are you crazy?
Fine.
He knows he missed it.
Fine, -4.
But this is
I
it.
ate
It all
hard.
comes down to this last question.
I've given to me so much credit. All right.
This is it. For all the marbles. Tweet number 8. Deep breaths, guys.
Calm down, fucker.
The Turkish hacker is really doing a number on Twitter now.
Holy fuck.
That's what we have to go
You
on.
saved the hardest for last. Read it again.
The Turkish hacker is really doing a number on Twitter. Wow.
Well, I got it down to 2.
You actually have to guess correctly to win, so I can't even guess. I will let you just take a shot at it to pull off the victory from way deep behind.
I have missed everything except for one.
Yeah.
I have it narrowed down to Demi and Paris.
Who do you have it narrowed down to again?
I have it narrowed down to Demi
Oh.
and Tyra.
Mmm.
I have it narrowed down to Paris and Tyra. I'll tell you what I think it is. I'm just going to shoot from the hip.
Yeah, Rob.
One time, and it's just because I have faith in God
And country.
and country. I want to say Demi.
He got it!
He got it!
What?
Fair and square.
Oh, too much.
Nice.
That's how you play.
You were so close.
And win.
You were so close to
That's
getting
how you
it
play
on the
and win.
comeback.
Congratulations, sir.
Sir, thank
you,
you.
Sammy.
Hey, my pleasure. Good game, gentlemen.
Thank you,
done, sir.
Sammy.
Sam Levine, ladies and Jews. Bring those paws together. He's here for the next 2 minutes. Son of a bitch. It's not how we rehearsed it. All right. There you go. This week's edition of Who Tweeted, and thank you so much for playing. Not a bad game.
Great game.
You know the fun thing about that game? Who Tweeted? It's an iPhone app.
No.
It's now an iPhone app.
Is it really?
Not fucking with you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that based on the work you've done here?
No.
Oh.
yes. No, it is.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
It's a fan of the show threw up this iPhone app and sent us a little notice to let him know that he created an iPhone app, literally with Paris, Demi, and Tyra as the 3 options, and sent it to us. And we're like, wow, that's great. My whole staff's like, dude, you got to get a
Cha-ching.
lawsuit.
Yeah, where's the payday?
Yeah, exactly. And so I go, well, let me talk to this kid because he told us he did it.
Yeah,
he didn't throw it up and then hope we wouldn't find out. Sure enough, college kid, unbelievably savvy.
Yeah.
Had done a couple of things for other people, Suicide Girls and some other people, built apps for them. And it just said, fuck it, I'm going to build it for them and see if they like it. Doesn't want any ownership, doesn't want anything. You know, if you can throw me whatever for beer money, I'm in college. I think it was just a way to help his resume. Great kid, phenomenal kid.
Get this kid an internship.
You know what I'm saying?
That's fantastic.
Yeah. As soon as it all becomes legal,
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and share his name. For now, he's just a good kid.
Searching.
Yeah, always searching. We had a big meeting that there's going to put lights above the camera so you know which one is on.
Okay.
Could you imagine being that helpful?
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Then it would seem like a real show. Tell us what's coming up, if you would, please.
What's coming up? Well, the Central Park Show, the Daily Show, doing stand-up.
Motion pictures. You have a couple more?
Yeah, I got, the other guy's coming out August 6th. I would have a small part in Going the Distance.
Larry Crown.
I just finished filming on Larry Crown.
Let's talk a little bit about Tom Hanks.
Yeah,
please.
God, amazing.
As nice as we insisted Will Ferrell is,
Tom, absolutely same.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
It's so good, though. It's so refreshing and nice.
To see someone that happy.
To see someone that happy.
With their
and
place
that
in the sun.
sincere and nice, and yet so loose and free and giving and kind. And,
Let you improvise?
Yeah, he did, and it was great.
This is the first time he's directed a film since That Thing You Do.
Right.
Which means we now have something a little more in common. It's not important. I was in the film. You're a big fan. Here's the thing. So when you're getting direction from an actor that you respect that much, what's going through your mind? Because then, you know, there's Adam McKay, who's a phenomenal director and improviser, but never an actor, never a two-time Academy Award-winning actor. There's a different vibe here. You're being directed by Jimmy Stewart.
Yes, it's one of those things too, where you know what got you there, and you don't want to jeopardize that or screw that up by being nervous or in awe. So you have to kind of get yourself together a little bit, because when I'm around him, I get real nervous.
Sure.
Because he's an icon and a hero to me.
Like now.
Yeah, like right now. I've been nervous the whole time. But you get nervous around him, but you have to kind of shut that off and be like, you know, I just need to do why he hired me was because of what I do. And so I need to do that for him.
But his face is on Mount Rushmore.
Pretty much.
Of acting.
Yeah.
For our generation.
Yes, absolutely.
So how could you not be intimidated? So you want to get a couple of scenes under your belt.
Yes.
So just walk me through the first scene with all that nerves. Your very first scene that you got to get under your belt.
And it's with him.
Oh my.
It's with him.
Acting in the scene together.
And it's one of those, you know, you're doing the scene, the first take, and you step outside your body and you watch the scene from up here.
Yeah.
And you go, hey, you're doing a scene with Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
And then you go back in your body and you go, what did I just say?
How bizarre of a sensation is that?
It's really bizarre.
Yeah.
It's really bizarre. Well, you've worked with amazing actors. You know, you get in the room and you're like, oh God, you know, you just, but it's that thing too where, you know, well, you wouldn't be here acting with this person if, you know, you didn't sneak in the back door. So just do what you got to do. Do your thing. And hopefully that will give them what they want, everything. And Tom was directing it, so in the middle of the scene with him, he'd go, cut! And you know, he'd be like, what the fuck just happened? You know, it's unusual to have your scene partner yell, cut, and walk off.
Yeah. You haven't worked with Schwarzenegger yet.
Yeah.
Cut, that's a wrap, I'll be in my trailer. You know, that's, Arnold, it's noon.
Yeah, we haven't finished it's good.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't be a wimp.
But but it was great. I made him laugh, which...
The first time?
Not the first time, because I did a read on it a certain way. And he was like, that's fine. He goes, I think I want you to be more this way. And I was like, okay. So I took his direction, obviously, and did it the second time, and he was very happy, and I was very happy, and he went back, and you know, he'd yell cut, and he went back to Video Village, and he'd go, play it again, and he'd watch it, and he'd laugh, and he goes, that's good, and then he came back and said, perfect, all right, now let's do it this way, and you know, now bring it in for mediums, and you know, he was doing the directing thing as well as the acting thing, and then I went back, you know, and shot again, and did some improvising in the scene. Nothing dialogue-wise, though. I wasn't gonna rewrite it, you know, because he wrote this as well. He and Nia wrote this,
Vardalos.
So I wasn't gonna, you know, I'm not gonna dabble in his words, but I would come up with things in the scene to make this guy more of a cavalier douche, I guess, you know.
Instead of just a regular douche?
Yeah, because I'm firing him, basically, in the scene. And I just, you know, treating it very nonchalantly, you know. And so anything I could do in the scene as I'm firing him, you know, just, you know, something, just whatever you can do, a little thing. And he was loving it. And so I was very grateful that I even got the opportunity to work with him. And, you know, it's something I'll tell my kids about.
Absolutely. Well, no, that's what you have ahead of you, says I, is working with all the greats. And I think you have an extraordinary comic film acting career in front of you.
Thanks.
There is a television show in the works as well. Mm-hmm. Team Spitz.
Team Spitz.
Right.
Yeah.
You had a development deal at one of the networks, and then they who worked with you on the Were you involved in the writing of the pilot as well? Or?
No, Bill Martin and Mike Schiff wrote it.
Okay.
But they came and pitched it to me, and they
Right.
said, we have this idea for a show. We think, it would be something, a world that you'd be really good in. And they pitched the idea, and I was like, oh, that sounds like a really fun world. And they were very gracious. They allowed me to say, well, hey, what about if we did this, and what if we did this? And they were like, yeah, okay, sure. So I got to throw in ideas, and then they wrote the thing, and it was their baby.
Right.
But they were very kind to let me feel like part of the process.
Right.
And it's over at CBS, and we are reshooting. We shot the pilot, last year during pilot season, and they didn't pick it up for the fall, and they didn't pick it up for mid-season, but they like something. So we are going back to the board, back to the drawing board, and we're going to do a retooling, and then we're going to reshoot it, and we'll see what happens.
Was it single camera or in front of an audience?
It's a hybrid.
Nice.
So we do some single camera on location stuff, and then we do some set pieces in front of a studio audience, which is great because you kind of get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was cool.
Yeah.
So the whole experience was good.
It was good. I got to produce on it, so I got to be involved in aspects that I'm normally not involved in, casting and rewrites and just being on set and having a voice.
Much more responsibility.
Yeah. It is a little more responsibility, but it's also awesome because you at least get to have a voice, which is something I'm not used to. The head chef always goes, they tap me on the head, they go, stand right here, we'll be back. And then they go, and then they come back and say, you're fired. And then that's it.
So it's the first time really?
Yeah, and then sitting in on the audition side of it. I've never been on that side of an audition.
How about that?
And that was an eye-opening experience.
Because you suddenly realize everyone knows kind of what they want before the people come in the room.
Right.
So everyone auditioning should not take it personally when they don't get it. That was the first thing that I realized.
Yep.
Oh my God, we all know what we want.
Right.
The person walks in, you go, well, this guy has no chance.
Yeah. And it has nothing to do with their ability.
No.
No, it's such a subjective thing.
Yeah.
Now, I can be swayed. Someone comes in and does a killer thing, and it might not be what I was envisioning,
That's
but they blow the doors off. You're like, maybe I was wrong. Maybe it could be this. Yeah, you know. So there it is. You do want to do your best in an audition.
J.K. Simmons was here last week, and he was talking about working with the Coen brothers, and they were saying, we really had somebody in mind. We love you, but we had somebody in mind like a big Grizzly Adams type character. And it took them forever to wrap their brains around him doing the job, and ultimately had to give it to him. And they just said, God, fuck it, he's just too good.
Yeah, and he is good.
But it's so hard to change their creative people's minds, and you got a sense of that being on the other side.
Absolutely. And I also got to see things not to do in auditions, things to, and things that I'm guilty of.
Make a sandwich?
Well, yeah, make a sandwich, cut the cheese, talk about religion. No, I would go in, though, sometimes, if I was rushed or whatever, and I go, I'm sorry, guys, I haven't had a chance to much time with the sides here. Don't apologize when you come in. Come in and I didn't care if anybody read off the thing, really. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't have to be off book. And so I just learned things for myself, like I was like, I will not apologize anymore. I will just come in and do the thing and go.
Nice.
But anyway, it was really fun to watch, and it was a big learning experience. And hopefully it'll come. Hopefully we'll get a shot at it.
Well, I hope so too, and I can't thank you enough for being here. Honestly.
No, this was an honor.
Can you believe we did over 2 hours?
No, I could keep going. This is great. Thank you.
Well, I had a certain sense that we would have ourselves a time and a couple of laughs, and I can't thank you enough for that, honestly. And also just to talk about the serious stuff, to get to one more spot before the Larry King game. The being pinned last April, was it? Or June, on the Lieutenant Colonel?
Yes.
That was just a ceremony?
Yeah, I was selected for promotion in April. And then when you get selected, then you buy, because they pick X amount of majors to be promoted to Lieutenant Colonel in that year. And then they give you a ranking. And so I was selected in April, and I pinned it on in June. So I had a pretty high number. And then that means on, I think it was July 1st, that's my date of rank. So I pinned on the rank of Lieutenant Colonel, July 1st.
That's got to feel amazing.
Yeah, it's nice because now I'll retire as a Lieutenant Colonel next summer, and I'll be done with the Marines.
So between now and next summer,
yeah,
you could literally be redeployed.
I could be. I don't think it'll happen. Knock on wood. But yeah, I don't anticipate it. It's always a possibility, though.
Yeah. Well, again, that's incredible and needs to be acknowledged, and I thank you for your service on behalf of the rest of the people who really, really appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Now back to the funny, you son of a bitch. But I didn't want to go without having that, if you don't. So thanks for indulging me. This is your camera.
Okay.
I need you in preparation to your version of the Larry King game. Rules again, bad Larry King impression.
I got one of those.
Yeah, right? The hope is that everyone has at least that. And then act out that moment for us that we're all kind of waiting for, that Jamie, the whole game sort of started when she acted out this moment of Larry just losing his shit on the air. Whatever it is.
You started this, Dan?
Yeah, she
Nice.
invented the damn crazy thing.
Yeah.
And whatever that moment is, honestly, for him, you heard the one that I read earlier about the balls flapping like Raquel Welch on a pogo. So the point is,
so it's
Larry
it's
sharing
something, him confessing he's
Yes.
something he shouldn't have.
that none of us want to know, ever.
Okay.
Don't want to know.
Okay.
And then go to the phone at the name of the city is funny sounding. So anything from an area you grew up at, you probably remember some funny sounding town. When you're ready, sir, please take your time, a sip of water, put the 20 in your pocket, whatever helps you chill down.
He sits like this, yeah?
Sure.
What is it? Okay. All right. Is that right?
Sure.
All right. Panama is the song, Van Halen is the band. The song, of course, a song I lost my anal virginity to. To a very big, burly man. A man of 6'2" in height. Lots of hair, a bear of a man, yet with a velvet touch, Joey Buttafuoco. Chanute, Kansas. Go!
Yeah. First time the use of Buttafuoco, and I could not be happier. Thank you so damn much.
Thank you, sir.
Honestly, and I can't wait to follow and watch the rest of your career.
Thank you.
We're big fans here. If you wouldn't mind, sit there and comfortably while I wrap things up into into my camera. So there you have it, folks. You're Rob Riggle. By the way, say that 6 times fast. Rob Riggle. During this entire 2 hours and 11 minutes and 32 seconds, I've been wondering, our regular director, Mike Rotman, has not been here today. He's only missed one other show ever, and it was a very long time ago, and I forgot what things were like without him. So I have to wonder outside the studio what the crew has been going through. Looks like they got a paper plane, and oh wow! Look at that plane! It's really going fast. He's got a hell of an arm. That thing is look out, Emily! That thing is headed to a safe landing. Wait a second. What's happening? What is on the... That's Mike Rotman, our director. And that's what the crew thinks of it.
Is that a Josh Negron film?
Was that a Josh Negron original joint? We love the crew gags. And Mike, God bless you and the family, and we'll see you next week when we have an unbelievably exciting show. The afternoon prior to that evening's premiere of Mad Men, of a new season of Mad Men that debuts next Sunday night during the day here at 3 o'clock Pacific Coast time, we have John Slattery, nominated for an Emmy once again for his work. We found that out just a few weeks ago. We're so thrilled that he's joining us here for next Sunday. If you're watching us much later on iTunes and the various ports, check out all the archived episodes at kevinpollakschatShow.com and many other great shows, so check the schedule.
Make yourself like a little marathon. You could do like the John Hamm episode, and then the Rich Sommer, Michael Gladys episode, and then, you can do.
Gearing up for tomorrow night, for those, next week, for those of you who are the Mad Men fans, that's a hell of an idea. You got yourself hours and hours of Mad Men, actual interviews with the actual people who make the show. And John Hamm was here, and I want to tell you, every attempt he made to not be good looking with the 9 a.m., which the rest of us call a 5 o'clock shadow, but I'll get Saturday to say on the show, as he confessed to us in private, that sometimes Ham has to shave 5 times. And then the sweat stain cap didn't work. Still walked in right off the set of Mr. and Mrs. Gorgeous. So anyways, check the schedule for upcoming shows, and we'll see Rotman with us next week. And I want to thank everyone here that works on the crew. If you watch this on the auspices of thisweekend.com, thanks for joining us there as well. Until next week, and as always... Your computer is not buffering. Get out of my face.